touchdown, Patrick Mahomes.
What a goal by Mia Hamm.
Jordan, look at that. Holy cow. Live from Byrd Stadium in College Park, Maryland, this is ACC football. The opening game of the season. The renewal of a rivalry between Penn State and Maryland, a series dominated by the Nittany Lions.
Massimo Manca will kick it away for Penn State, his only experience. And that is a look at Keita Covington, who is the deep man standing inside his own 5-yard line. Manca has some experience in contrast to Ramon Paredes, Maryland's kicker, who has only kicked off one time. Penn State, incidentally, won the toss, declined, and Maryland will receive. Danny Swingle and Stephen Scriber are back with Keita Covington, who is waiting at the 5-yard line, and the 1985 season is underway. Covington at the 6. And reaches the 26 before he is dragged down by Gary Wilkerson, a reserve defensive halfback. A 20-yard return for Keita Covington, and Maryland will start from its own 25. Stan Gelbaugh will bring them out. Alvin Blunt and Badonic are the running backs. Farrell Edmonds, a terrific tight end. Holder and Abdur Rauf are blazers on the outside. The offensive line, big, strong, and veteran, led by J.D. Marleveld, nearly 300 pounds, the right tackle. These guys can move them out on offense, and that's what Maryland was able to do a year ago. They shift out of the eye. Blunt 33 and Badonic 40 behind Stan Gelbaugh. Penn State showing a 5-man front. This is Blunt. He'll only get a couple. The right corner, Lance Hamilton, came up to knock him down. Here's the Penn State defense. Look out for Shane Conlon. He is an excellent defensive end, also plays linebacker as they shift the defense around. And Bob White on the other side, a big play man for the Nittany Lions. The linebackers, not real big, but excellent athletes. And Alexander, number 95, maybe the best of the crew. The secondary, experienced Michael Zordich, number 43, the strong safety, is the hero in Penn State's defensive system. And he'll move everywhere. 2nd and 7. For the Terps, and Gelbaugh drops to throw his first pass, and it's picked off. Penn State will score on an interception by the hero Michael Zordich, and Gelbaugh drilled him right between the numbers.
Michael Zordich looked like he was playing the play right from the start. What a break for Penn State to start this ball game. There he is, just a little turnout to the wide receiver. Zordich read it all the way, stepped in front, made that beautiful reception, and he's off. And Azizan Abdur Rauf can run. 4-year Letterman, Michael Zordich. Abdur Rauf comes back and makes the tackle.
50 seconds into the ball game, Penn State picks off a pass, returns it 32 yards to lead 6-0. Manca with the point after try. He is 6 for 6 on his career, and less than a minute into the ball game, Penn State has done what it normally does against Maryland in this series. They have stunned the Terps early.
Maryland comes out throwing, just a little turnout. Zordich reads it all the way, as we said before, takes off. He's got nothing between him. Of course, the great speed of Abdur Rauf almost pulled him down.
There's a timeout on the field with 14 minutes and 10 seconds to go, first quarter. Penn State leads Maryland 7-0.
Maryland's trying to run a little pickoff move with the tight end. Zordich comes up to cover the tight end, just forgets about his man, sees the ball, goes for it, makes that great interception. And Stan Gelbaugh is very much in the ball game. He hustles downfield and misses a tackle in the end zone, but great effort for a quarterback.
Tell you one thing too, Ken, Joe Paterno has had the uncanny knack over the years to be able to anticipate plays like that, and he will tell that hero who moves all over the field, son, when that quarterback stands straight up, here's where I want you to stand, and the ball will hit you right in the chest.
Well, I'm sure they had that down on the computer and how many times they threw that pass.
Massimo Manca will kick off for the second time in less than a minute. Keita Covington once again standing at his own 5-yard line. Returned the first one 20 yards. He'll get another crack at this. Covington this time at the 3. Right behind the wedge, cuts it outside, and will be dragged down at the 16-yard line. Barry Bookman Number 26 got down there on the coverage and dragged him out of bounds. And now, Ken, it's going to be interesting to see how mentally Maryland faces this early setback.
Well, we've talked about this all week, is whether they can handle being down, and they know that they have trouble in ball games here against Penn State. Maryland's got to come back, play their offense, and get back in the game, not do anything different.
Last year, of course, being behind was no problem for the Terps. An explosive second-half offensive show they had. This is Bodanik. He'll only get about a yard, and he's tripped up. Tim Johnson, the defensive right tackle, the junior out of Sarasota, Florida, just nailed him.
Stan Gelbaugh had a great year last year, coming in, as we said, for the injured Frank Reich. A lot of pressure on him coming as a starter, a lot different role. You can come in as that substitute, Mike, and feel pretty loose, but now a lot is expected of him.
As Zizidon Abdur-Rauf will split wide to the near side, and into the ballgame for the first time is Sean Sullivan, split right. Second and long. Gelbaugh sidearms it to Bodanik across the 30. 35 and out of bounds. Good downfield block by Rauf, keeping Lance Hamilton occupied. And Gelbaugh now 1 out of 2, and that's going to help the Butterflies.
They do so many things with this mixed motion. And one of the great jobs they do, of course, is get Bodanik out by himself. And when he gets out, he can run. Now watch Rauf turn around, Abdur-Rauf, and makes a good block in order to get Bodanik downfield.
17-yard game will give Maryland its first down at its own 34-yard line. If you just joined us, Penn State scored in the first 50 seconds of the ball game when Michael Zordich picked off a pass and went 32 yards for a touchdown. Gelbaugh on 1st and 10 will send Eric Holder in motion behind him. The backs are split to toss to Bodanik. Bodanik with some running room gets about 8 yards to the 44-yard line before Shane Conlon got it.
As we've said before, this Maryland ball club averages 266 in the middle of the line. Rogers Alexander, a great tackler for Penn State, cannot bring down Rick Bodanik. Finally brought down by Shane Conlon.
Give Bodanik a gain of 9. It will be 2nd and a yard. Maryland out to its 44-yard line. Terps in their second offensive position. 93 is Farrell Edmonds, the tight end, shifting to the near side. Wide receivers just split out of the eye, and Gelbaugh wants to throw. Badly overthrown. The only man even close to it was number 16, Duffy Cobbs, the cornerback. And Gelbaugh just looked very, very hesitant, even on the one he completed, a little sidearm toss.
That was a little tentative pass by Stan Gelbaugh. He could be nervous coming into this ball game. Straight drop back pass. Now he has his hook early. He has Abdur-Rauf early. He sees him, and for some reason he doesn't go to him. By the time he gets around, we look at the tentativeness, and he throws the ball, and I believe he tried to throw it away.
3rd down now and a yard. And Maryland will go with the close set. 2 tight ends in the ball game. This is Holder in motion. They'll give it to Bodanik, the short yardage specialist, and he's across the 45 and has the first down for the Terrapins. Their second first down of the ball game. Ray Isom up from the free safety position along with Rogers Alexander made the tackle. Isom led Penn State in tackles last year, and that's the story in the first quarter. Penn State on top of Maryland 7-0, but the Terrapins are driving. Gelbaugh will bring them out. Bodanik 40 and Alvin Blunt 33 have gone all the way. And one of the Penn State players is down. That's Trey Bauer, one of the inside linebackers. And we remind you, it's about 100 degrees out on the field.
Mike, look at the Penn State ball players. Trey Bauer is hurt, probably dinged a little bit, hitting the head. But the Penn State ball players are tired, and they haven't been on the field that long.
I'm tired, and we're up here.
It's hot. It really is hot.
Bauer, not a starter last year, backed up Don Graham, who has moved to an outside linebacker position. He's only 208 pounds, not a real big kid, especially for a linebacker.
Well, they don't lose much in there when they bring in Bob Onko, and Onko will probably come in for him.
Trademark of Penn State linebackers has always been very tough, aggressive players. And their defensive scheme gives the linebackers a lot of room to roam.
Well, one of the reasons they keep moving around, of course, is they don't have great size. They don't specialize in having the 280-pound defensive lineman, and they have to keep those guys moving. They go for quickness and multiple formations.
One thing to point out, Ken, Maryland's offensive line averages between 260 and 270. and Penn State's front goes 236, 258, 251, and 222, they might be able to outmuscle them as the day wears on.
Well, it should happen that way. If you look at the Maryland ball players, quite frankly, they look a little bit more rested than the Penn State players.
Bob Ontko, number 93, checks in as Trey Bauer, number 35, is helped to the sideline. You're going to see a lot of people, I think, helped off the field today. So hot and humid. First down, 10 yards to go for Maryland. 12 minutes and 14 seconds to go first quarter. Penn State leading 7-0, and Penn State has not had the ball on offense yet. Blunt trying to get outside, no luck. And he was wrapped up by Bob White, the left defensive end, and Shane Conlon also came in to help out. White is a big play man, number 34. He only had 33 total tackles last year, but almost half of those were behind the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 7 on the Maryland 49.
Alvin Blunt a year ago, 759 yards. You combine that with Tommy Neal, who carried for over 600, and you have quite a tandem at running back. Second down, 7 yards to go. Gelbaugh with a pitch to Badonic. And Badonic on a great play by Lance Hamilton, who would not be denied. Number 45 just stood his ground, fought off the block, and Badonic had nowhere to go.
Well, that's what makes it Penn State ball club so tough. They don't have big kids. Now, Abdul Rauf makes a tremendous block. There's a good block by Tommy Neal, the running back, but Abdul Rauf was all over Lance Hamilton, and Hamilton fought through the block to make the tackle.
11:07 to go first quarter. Maryland has had the ball for 9 offensive plays, Penn State none, and yet the Nittany Lions lead it 7-0. Third down, 5 yards to go. Penn State shows a 4-man front, and Gelbaugh with a play action wants to throw. Time, throws, complete. Rauf. Azizadin Abdur Rauf at the 31-yard line. Duffy Cobbs was the only man that was even close to the play, and Gelbaugh had a little mustard on that one.
Abdul Rauf runs this down and out pattern about 15 yards. Shane Conlon was back, almost got a hand on the ball, or maybe he did get a hand on the ball, but tremendous route, big play.
17-yard gain, and Maryland for the first time today has moved into Nittany Lion territory at the Penn State 32-yard line. The wide receivers now milling number 22, and Holder number 81 for Maryland, and Holder is in motion. Out of the eye. They'll give it to Blunt. Slices up the middle for a couple. Pete Kirkendall, number 73, in on the stop. Reserve defensive lineman, along with Awatoa Palomalu.
I'm glad you said that one.
If he has to tackle Azizadin and Abdur Rauf, will both leave.
I would say that Awatoa is changing his name to Alpola, by the way.
That was, and then he's changed it back. He wants to go back to the Samoan pronunciation, so we'll go with him. 2nd and 5.
Maryland doesn't lose much when Alvin Blunt or Tommy Neal's in the ball game.
10th play of this drive. Blunt again. Struggling for yardage. Working behind Len Lynch, his senior co-captain left guard, who pulled on that play.
This Maryland line can be awesome when you get those big guards out in front of you. Len Lynch, 6'2", 269, a senior. And Jeff Holinka, another senior, 6'3", 264, and they can both run.
Third down, 2 yards to go. Joe Paterno really shuffling his people on defense because it is so hot out there. About half the line first team, about half of it is second team. Badonic straight up the middle, dives for the first down, and appears to have it as he reaches the 21-yard line. Maryland on a solid drive from their own 15-yard line.
Again, a lot of pressure on the Penn State linebackers to stop Rick Badonic. 5'9", 217 pounds, and you can see them muscle their way in there, but they get that great surge, and with Rick Badonic getting that weight forward, awfully tough to hold him less than a 2-yard gain.
Maryland 1st and 10 at the Penn State 21, trailing 7-0. Gelbaugh looks over the defense and has the back split. Milling, the wide receiver in motion, now runs out of the slot, and it's a screen to Badonic. 4 blockers in front of him, and what a tackle by Michael Zordich. The hero in Penn State's defense somehow slipped the blocks, got in to make the tackle. That one could have gone a long way, Ken.
Oh, this separates the Maryland ball club. They're so good at getting Badonic out in the flat with those blockers in front of him. Just a little quick screen, had 4 people out in front of it, and Mike Zordich, again, a 4-year letterman. He's played a lot of different positions at Penn State, comes in and makes a great tackle.
And another Penn State player is down, and it's Lance Hamilton, number 45, and they're going to have to help him off the field.
A lot of this, when these kids are getting dinged, it's really because they're fatigued. It's hot, they get fatigued. It's awfully easy to get your bell rung at that point in the game.
And that will bring in a freshman at the corner spot, Eddie Johnson, who is 5'10", 164 pounds. We'll be back after this word from our local stations. Joe Paterno with 176 wins, just beginning his 20th year at Penn State, and he has really done such a marvelous job, not only for his university, but for college football as a whole. Ken, he has been a spokesman for a lot of things that most of us believe in, and people occasionally snipe at Joe Paterno, but I don't think they have any reason to. And there's another man who is trying to build his own legend at the University of Maryland, Bobby Ross, who has done a wonderful job since he's come here. Maryland has had the ball all 7 minutes of this ball game, except for one 10-second period when Michael Zordich was returning an interception for a touchdown. Right now, the Terrapins 2nd and 7 from the Penn State 18-yard line, and Gelbaugh to go to work over the middle, intercepted. It's picked up by Pete Giftopoulos, and Giftopoulos run out of bounds by Blunt at the 38-yard line. And once again, Gelbaugh hit him right in the numbers.
This could be the story of the ball game, Mike. Trying to force that ball in there. Ran a little flood pattern, had everybody out that way. We'll see Gelbaugh come back, set up just a little roll, a little pocket pass. And there's Giftopoulos, who comes over, reads the man perfectly, trying to hit Abdul Raouf. Now, all of these linebackers are not that big, and they can run. Alvin Blunt gets back and helps make the tackle.
I don't think he ever saw Giftopoulos.
I don't think he did either. Giftopoulos is looking back, comes over, covers that little hook area, picks it up. Now he starts to be a runner at that point.
Penn State with the ball offensively for the first time at their own 36. That's DJ Dozier in motion. They'll give it to Smith, the fullback, up the middle. He's stacked up as he reaches about the 41-yard line. Ted Chapman, number 96, was one of the men on the tackle. And there is Giftopoulos, a sophomore linebacker who is 243 pounds. He is a load.
He should be playing in the defensive line for Penn State.
That's right.
That's one of their big ones.
He's bigger than a couple of their linemen. John Schaefer at quarterback, won the quarterback battle with Matt Kisner. He's a junior, 209 pounds. He's only completed about 40% of his passes in his career. And Penn State will get maybe a yard out of that one as Steve Kelly and Bruce Messner stack up the fullback Steve Smith. In the first two plays, they have not given the ball to DJ Dozier, who is coming off a knee injury, but one of the premier running backs in the country, Ken.
They say there's nothing wrong with him. There's DJ, and he looks in great shape, and everybody, and of course Paterno, I'm sure, is tired of telling everybody that his knee is fine. He had simple arthroscopic surgery after the season. Should be in great shape. 3rd and 4. Schaefer to throw his first pass. Dumps it over the middle, complete to Smith, the fullback, and Smith has the first down, it appears, near his own 48-yard line. Now, you've got quite a controversy up in Penn State about who should be the quarterback. John Schaefer won that in a heated battle, and one of the reasons was that he could read defenses so well. Here he pops it over the middle to the fullback, Steve Smith. Keita Covington comes up and makes the stop. Maryland has a bunch of hitters in the secondary. Keita Covington, number 1, number 18, Al Covington, and Donald Brown, number 2 on the other side. They will really pop you, but right now, Penn State has achieved its first down of the ball game at its own 48-yard line. Split backs and Schaefer to throw. Deep over the middle, and Keita Covington was all over Mike Timpson, and it is interference. Mike Alexander ran a good pattern, a post pattern, and Keita Covington was all over top of him. No doubt about the play. Keita Covington gets on his back, rides him with his right hand. No question about the call. And that was Alexander, number 9, instead of Timpson, number 5. And Covington just got there a little bit early. The officials will mark it off from the line of scrimmage. 15 yards all the way down to the Maryland 37-yard line. It's been all Penn State so far. Mike, one of the reasons,
first down.
Okay. One of the reasons, of course, that Joe Paterno has given for last year's demise, really, if you can consider 6'5" a demise, is a lack of quality receivers. Here's John Schaefer. They've got a burner in there now. Timpson, number 5, and Alexander, number 9. They both can run. This is Timpson in motion, the freshman from Florida. Holds 4 state track records there. Dozier with his first carry, and Dozier wants to throw the halfback option. Timpson, and he couldn't hold it.
Timpson had Keita Covington beaten by 3 steps, and Dozier laid it up. It looked like it might have been held up by the wind a little bit, and Timpson couldn't quite hold it. We told you he can fly.
Mike Timpson, a freshman from Miami, Florida, holds 4 state records in track. DJ Dozier disguises it well, puts it up. He just couldn't run to the ball. Great effort by Timpson. Keita Covington beat by a good 6 yards.
Now, how's that for your first time that your Heisman Trophy candidate touches the football and he throws as the Maryland defense came up all over them? 2nd and 10, Penn State. Draw play to Smith, straight up the middle of Lunner Road. Keita Covington hits him at the 20, but he drags him to the 17-yard line. And Penn State has put together a brilliant offensive game plan here. This is the first time they have had the football in the first quarter.
Well, if you're looking for DJ Dozier to shake up this Maryland ball club, you better start looking at Steve Smith. Coming in, Joe Paterno with a great game plan, letting Dozier really be a faker, really. And Steve Smith, who they think could be one of their best fullbacks in the history of Penn State, doing a super job.
And the Maryland linebackers were nowhere to be seen. Schaefer on the blitz, and he's down as Shankweiler. Came in from the left end spot, and Schaefer didn't have a chance. Shankweiler, the senior co-captain from Camp Hill, Pennsylvania.
Scott Shankweiler, the co-captain of this ball club. 45 tackles last year, had a big interception against Miami. Boy, he's tough and he's fast. John Schaefer had no chance. This Penn State offensive line is a little suspect. They've had a lot of moving around, a lot of people playing different positions. They think they've got a good offensive line. It remains to be seen.
Loss of 6, so make it 2nd and 16. Penn State with the ball just outside the Maryland 28-yard line. Dozier and Smith are the running backs, split behind Schaefer. And Schaefer, little sideline pass. Oh, what a catch over there by Ray Roundtree, the sophomore split end. Just angled his feet inside. Shankweiler tried to get back on coverage.
John Schaefer, this is a great pass. He had a little roll zone into Roundtree. Roundtree just goes around the man, keeps his feet in bounds, and makes a tremendous play over Scott Shankweiler.
Just outside the 10 is where they'll mark it. Gain of 12, and it's 3rd down and 4 yards to go.
Well, they didn't know how good this offense would be. I don't know. They look pretty good to me.
Me too. Eric Hamilton checks out of the ball game. Timpson is in. Dozier goes to a wing as Schaefer wants to throw on 3rd and 4. Heading for the end zone for Timpson, and it's knocked away by Al Covington. Timpson appeared to have the ball caught, and Al Covington, the safety, came over and hammered him.
Mike Timpson showing some of that speed. They got him those 4 records in Florida. Just beats him now. Now, I tell you, Steve Kelly was over there helping out. But Al Covington makes a great play right after the ball was caught because Timpson had his hands on that football.
Now on 4th and 4, Joe Paterno will send in his field goal unit. And Massimo Manca, the 5'9" senior, with Kisner, the backup quarterback, holding it, will be a 28-yard attempt. And Manco has it up and through. With 4:29 to go in the first quarter, Penn State is stunning a favored Maryland football team 10-0. Some of the crowd here at College Park a little quieter than they were when this began. We'll be back in a moment.
This is the play that got it going. Pete Giftopoulos coming over. And Stan Gelbaugh does not see him. He tries to hit that hook man. Giftopoulos picks it up, and he's up the sidelines. Big play in the drive, of course. You had a lot of controversy over who should play quarterback, but I tell you, you don't have to worry about it if they're going to intercept passes up and down the field.
You got that right. 4 minutes and 29 seconds to go first quarter. The Maryland sideline a little bit shell-shocked. They are down 10-0 to Penn State. But Maryland did not get too tired of being behind last year. They spotted Tennessee 21 points in the Sun Bowl. Came back to win. They spotted Miami a lot more than that in the greatest comeback in college football history. They were down 31-0. Keita Covington, who's already returned 2 kickoffs in the first quarter, will be back to receive, and Massimo Manca will kick it off again. And the crowd has really been taken out of this ball game, Ken Willard.
And they have every reason to be quiet.
This time Covington driven into his own end zone, and Danny Swingle back there with him, and they'll down it in the end zone. So Maryland will have to start from its own 20-yard line. took only 3 minutes and 3 seconds as they capitalized on the interception, and Mankey hit a 28-yard field goal to make it 10-0. Those 2 interceptions have been the killers to Maryland, and of course turnovers usually do tell the story. And there they are. The interception, the first one went immediately for a touchdown. The second one set up the drive that resulted in a field goal, 10-0.
That's the Penn State of old, taking advantage of other teams' mistakes. They don't let many of them go by.
Stephen Scriber, number 45, is into the ball game for the first time, and Scriber will get a couple. He is dragged down by Mike Russo and Tim Johnson, the respective defensive tackles for Penn State.
I think this gives you some idea of maybe how tired the Maryland players are. There was some question of whether Tommy Neal would play today, and Scriber, of course, looks like he's taking Neal's place. But they lose quite a bit without Tommy Neal in there. 650 yards or 630 yards last year.
Scriber and Blunt are the running backs. Now they'll split behind Stan Gelbaugh, who has not had a good first quarter. On 2nd and 8, they'll give it up the middle to Scriber. Scriber gets a couple.
You got to really like to play football to play offensive and defensive line. They don't really play football. They play thud. with an offensive line of 266 pounds. Look at the block. Mike Russo taken back, but stays on his feet and comes in and helps make that tackle. You got to like football to want to do that.
You got to like something to want to do that. Russo pushed all over the place, but stayed in there and made the tackle. 3rd and 2. Crowd trying to get back into it. Holder in motion. And they'll give it to Scriber. Scriber fought his way across the 30 and got the first down. Great job by Stephen Scriber as he was hit right along the line of scrimmage by Bob White, number 34. And Shane Conlon, number 31, came up to help make the tackle. But he got the first down. That's what Scriber did a year ago. Not used all that much.
Now they think he could be a real fine back. 6'3", 225 pounds. Very big fullback. Of course, you can see the effect of the heat. Probably Rick Bodonic would have been in the ball game had it been another day.
Maryland has the second-team offensive line in there. Bill Hughes, number 69, at the left guard. John Rudd, number 57, at the starting center, and Gelbaugh back to throw. This one is complete to Milling. Milling across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Ray Isom, the free safety, came up and knocked him down, but not before Milling had picked up 16 yards. The sophomore from Temple Hills, Maryland.
Not very innovative. A nice 10 to 12-yard turn in. Milling comes down, makes his move, comes back to the football, almost juggles and drops it here, but hangs on. And Ray Isom, of course, who led the team in tackles last year, comes up and makes a tackle.
Milling will remember that one. He did not have a catch in 1984. 2 minutes, 26 seconds to go. First quarter, it's 10-0 Penn State. Maryland with a first down at its own 47. Scriber again, straight up the middle. Gets 5, 6, 7 yards. George
Fusikas, offensive assistant, has been around. Only 2 minutes and 9 seconds left. Good line play by that Maryland second-team offensive line. Moving off the ball, taking that Penn State team, which is not big, with them.
Give Scriber a gain of 6 at second down, 4 yards to go. Abdur-Rauf and Sean Sullivan are the wide receivers. Scriber again, same play, straight up the middle, first down. Penn State 41-yard line again. Mike Russo being blown out off the offensive line, but hanging in there to make the tackle.
Lynn Lynch, number 63 for Maryland. I've never seen anybody, you see him in the left corner of your screen, takes Bob Anka and keeps driving him, almost put him over on the Maryland bench. Great blocking by that Maryland offensive line.
Scriber now 5 carries, 23 yards. Maryland has been able to move the ball. The only thing that has stopped them have been the 2 Stan Gelbaugh interceptions, and he's back to throw again. Almost knocked away and almost picked off that time by Shane Conlon, who was standing right by the intended receiver, and I don't think Gelbaugh should have thrown that one.
Well, he shouldn't have, and you start getting a little antsy right now. I think Stan's starting to think too much. He's got his receiver out there, and he just lets that ball go, trying to hit Alvin Blunt. He's got Shane Conlon right in front of him, had a man downfield, throw it away.
Great recognition by Conlon, who was coming in after the passer, saw the screen forming, and went back for Alvin Blunt. 2nd and 10. Gelbaugh now 4 out of 8, 53 yards, but 2 of those have been picked off. This is Neal into the ballgame, trying the right side sweep, and Shane Conlon was waiting for him at the 40, number 31. This Penn State defense looks to be much improved over last year.
Maryland runs this play so well. That cross action with the backs. They get that guard out pulling. But Shane Conlon read the play right from the start, of course. Only 6'3", 222 pounds. 77 tackles in the year last year. One of their big people in that defensive line.
Tommy Neal, something of a cross between Blunt and Badonic. He is fast and strong. Big play here. 3rd down, 8 yards to go. Gelbaugh against a 4-man rush under pressure. And there should be a flag on this one. The receiver was flattened with the ball in the air. I think they were throwing for Tommy Neal.
Well, they had to see that. I don't know how they didn't see it. Bob Anka decked him right as the ball was getting close to him. Let's say that. If the ball was approaching him, it sure wasn't there.
But no flag falls, and the Maryland sideline really upset about it. And Darrell Wright will be kicking to Coates, who's standing inside his own 10-yard line. Wright averaged 41.4 yards a kick last year, number 4 in the ACC. Only had 6 of them returned, and they expect him to be more of a weapon this year on 4th and 8. See if he tries to go for the sideline. He tries to pooch it inside the 10, and it hits inside the 5, maybe down. And they will roll the ball into the end zone.
There was word that they were going to use 1,200 pounds of ice today with fans.
Wish they'd send some up here. Schaefer back to throw, wants to go deep. And Timpson made the catch. Somehow he took it away from Keita Covington. Schaefer throws the bomb 50 yards, and Timpson, the sprinter from Miami, Florida, just went up and got it away from Covington. What a grab.
This was tremendous coverage. John Schaefer just sets up. Believe me, he doesn't know what to do with it. First he sees Timpson so far down there, he lets it go. Keita Covington has him all the way, and Mike Timpson right at the last moment out jumps Covington and makes a play, but you cannot fault Covington on a play. He had him everywhere.
First down for Penn State at the Maryland 30-yard line. And the official will stop it. They may not have beaten the clock to get the play off. No, it's the end of the quarter. Penn State with a brilliant first period. 2 interceptions, some outstanding defense, and an offense that's been able to control the ball. At the end of the first quarter, it's Penn State 10 and Maryland nothing. Penn State with the football at the Maryland 30. 1st and 10 as we start the second quarter. Eric Hamilton, the flanker, in motion. And Schaefer back to throw. Out of bounds. Tried to hit Mike Alexander. Schaefer has thrown the ball extremely well so far for Penn State. As you see, he had 62 yards passing in the first quarter. Maryland with 59 yards rushing, only 26. But the big story was the turnovers. 2 interceptions by Gelbaugh, and it's 10-0 Penn State. 2nd and 10 for the Nittany Lions. They'll give it to Dozier, and Dozier with room to run inside the 25 to about the 23-yard line. Chuck Fawcett and Danny Swingle, or make it Al Covington on the tackle. Covington, number 18, the safety in Maryland's 3-deep setup.
Nothing spectacular about that Penn State offensive line, but they will get out and hit you. Mark Sickler got out in front, made a good block on the linebacker. And Todd Moles, of course, is playing his 4th position in 4 years. Back at offensive guard, always a factor, always out there hitting somebody.
Gain of 7 for Dozier. It's 3rd and 3. They'll run it out of the eye. Smith, the fullback, and now they split Dozier out to a wing. And Schaefer wants to throw, has Dozier open and hits him. And Dozier reached for the first down. He'll be short of it, and it was Richie Pettibone out there who diagnosed the play and made the stop. Good play by both kids.
One of the reasons John Schaefer's in there instead of Matt Kisner is his ability to read defenses. He audibled, put Dozier up on the line. Dozier runs a little out pattern, and look at Dozier's moves. Pettibone makes a good play getting over to make the stop, but Dozier could have gone in that end zone had Pettibone not come up so quickly.
4th down and a yard, and Joe Paterno sends in Tim Manoa, number 44, at fullback, and the Nittany Lions will go for it. 4th and 1 from the 21.
Big play on Joe Paterno's part this early in the ball game.
And now Schaefer looks around, doesn't like what he sees, and calls a timeout. Timeout with 13:34 to go in the half. Penn State on top of Maryland by 10. Penn State at the Maryland 21, and they'll go for it. Dozier, the deep man in the eye, two fullbacks in there. Dozier, right side, first down and more. Keita Covington gets him at the 15-yard line. Boy, nice block by Tim Manoa, number 44, in at fullback. Really cleared the way for Dozier.
They get both those fullbacks, 239 for Smith and 229. Now watch Dozier's move when he gets up in the line of scrimmage. Good fill by Manoa, but Dozier does a lot himself. He gets that leg out, and he's ready to go for the end zone. 1st and 10, Nittany Lions at the 15-yard line. Schaefer, who is 4 of 6, wants more. Over the middle, complete to Timpson. The freshman from Miami having an immediate impact, and that's one thing Joe Paterno said last year. They did not have the wide receivers to throw the ball. Well, Mike Timpson really having a day for himself. Schaefer's going for him all the way, never takes his eyes off of him. You've got 4 defensive backs right around him. A lot of courage by that young kid, Mike Timpson from Florida. Great protection on that Penn State offensive line. They may not have played there a long time, but they want to keep him off Schaefer.
5 out of 7, 82 yards for Schaefer. 1st and goal, Penn State at the 3. Manoa, the fullback, didn't get much. Messner in the middle along with Chapman. Just stacked up by the center of the Maryland defense.
That offensive line, again, not big, 258. Sickler, 250 for Rott. But they put their head in there. Of course, that huge defensive line, 284 Parker, and Chapman, 256, managing to stand them up. Very important series of downs for Penn State. This could turn around in Maryland's favor if they don't get a touchdown out of it.
2nd and goal from the 2. Once again, 2 fullbacks in the ball game, along with number 42, Dozier. And Schaefer to throw. Touchdown! Bob Williams, a 4th-string tight end, made the one-handed grab, and Joe Paterno has grabbed a 16-point first-half lead.
I think the question is who Penn State hasn't played on offense right now. Bob Williams comes right off the line of scrimmage, looks around, look at the one-hand grab right over Chuck Fawcett. Can't make the play. Big play for Penn State.
Massimo Manca will try to make it 17-0 out of Kisner's hold. Puts it up and through. And Penn State is rolling over the University of Maryland here in the first half. 17-0, really thumping a team that many people picked for #1 in the country. Certainly the preseason ACC favorite.
Chuck Fawcett, one of their best linebackers, reads the play, but just isn't tall enough to get over top of Bob Williams. Bob Williams, about 6'4", 6'5", makes a play, super play.
12:04 to go in the first half here at College Park. 17-0 Penn State, and we'll be back after this word from our local stations. And there is Bobby Ross, and you have to wonder what is going through his mind. He has seen this act before with his club falling behind, but not in the opening game of a season, and not 17-0 against a team that is playing extremely well.
Well, I hate to be ridiculous and bring up these silly graphics, Mike, because I know you don't like them. There's their scoring drive, of course. Only 8 plays, going 80 yards, taking up 3 minutes and 22 seconds. But, you know, with crowds of 50,000 or more, Maryland has only won 1 of 7 ball games.
Manca to kick it off again, and Covington waiting for it, this time at the 4-yard line. Got a little bit of a seam. 30, 40, and Manca, the kicker, was the man who knocked him out of bounds. A little soccer-style kicker, got his shoulder in there. And now the Maryland sideline really fired up as Keita Covington nearly broke it and got past the 40.
He led the ACC last year. Wilkerson misses a tackle right here, allowing Covington to get out of that grasp and keep going. Great runner. This could be the lift that Maryland needs.
37-yard return for Covington. 1st and 10 Maryland from their own 41. Knight, the tight end, switches to the far side. Got the backs in the eye, Blunt and Badonic. And Gelbaugh will give it off instead to Alvin Blunt, and Mike Russo is in on the stop. Maryland's offense, Ken, has not been that bad. They've been able to move the ball, but those 2 pass interceptions, really the only thing that has stopped them outside of one Penn State defensive stand.
Well, they really do not have any offensive problems. They can move the ball at will. The problem has been, as you say, Mike, the 2 big interceptions, and I think Gelbaugh's just going to have to come back, shake that off. He's a great quarterback, and I don't think he's going to let it bother him.
Second down, 8 yards to go for Maryland. They're down 17-0. Gelbaugh with a fake and just tossed it right over the head of Rick Bodonik, who was not more than 3 yards away from him, and he airmailed him.
That could have gone about 40 yards the other way, too.
Sure could have.
Had a lot of pressure on him.
Stan Gelbaugh just has not gotten his rhythm yet.
Well, if I were from Penn State, I'd be a little worried being this far behind Maryland after the Miami game.
Gelbaugh, in his first start, passed for 308 yards. That was at Penn State a year ago. Right now, he is 4 out of 10, 53 yards and 2 interceptions, and the crowd's a little restless. Gelbaugh chased out of the pocket, and then he's sacked. Mike Russo, the man who put all the pressure on him, and then Rogers Alexander, number 95, was coming in to help out Russo, 67. A loss of 13 yards, and Maryland is not getting anything going.
They had a little stunt going. Mike Russo coming around the defensive end, not picked up by the back, gets in, puts pressure on him.
And Darrell Wright will have to punt it away. Coates and Timpson, 49 and 5, are deep. And Coates coming up has to let it bounce, and it will go out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Wright got it a little bit off the side of his foot. Penn State will take over there with 10:38 to go, but it was a 42-yard kick by Darrell Wright with no return. 10 minutes, 38 seconds to go. First half of play from College Park, and it's Penn State 17, Maryland nothing. Penn State up 17-0 here in the second quarter. 2 interceptions set up 10 of those points. The first interception on Maryland's first offensive possession went for a touchdown. The second interception started a drive that set up a field goal. The other, Penn State's offense got it on its own, and the Nittany Lions have the ball back between their own 27 and 28-yard line, 1st and 10. Maryland's defense needs to do something to get them a break here. And they'll stack up Uford Cooper, 13 tailback who went, or 13 fullback rather, who went straight up the middle. Kevin Walker, number 44, was in on the stop. Walker played fullback last year, one of the few freshmen on the Maryland active roster a year ago.
You can see how this heat is affecting the ball club. Penn State dipping deep into their offensive personnel and bringing out Uford Cooper, who had not been in the ball game.
Cooper 40 and David Clark 48 are the running backs behind Schaefer. They'll give Cooper a gain of 2, more like 1. We'll call it 2nd and 9. Schaefer, who has had a big first half, calling signals. Wants to throw again, and threw it over the head of Ray Roundtree. Good defensive coverage by Maryland as Steve Kelly, the right end / outside linebacker, got back there on coverage. That's a play that worked earlier, Ken, but Kelly was up to it that time.
Well, Steve Kelly does make a good play on this. They think Ray Roundtree can be one of their best receivers. In fact, Joe Paterno thinks his receivers on the field, including Mike Timpson, who's just a true freshman, can be the best group of receivers he's had in a long time, since the days of Kenny Jackson.
Well, Timpson is a burner. We've already seen that. Schaefer, 6 out of 9, 84 yards. And has thrown the ball exceptionally well overall. Schaefer this time almost lost his balance. Scott Tye almost had him in the backfield. The pass is dropped. He had David Clark wide open, and Clark dropped it. There is a penalty flag back near the quarterback, and I think it's a hold. Scott Tye, number 56, blew through there. Somebody may have grabbed him on the way past.
Well, he got David Clark out in the open. No one picked him up. He's standing out there all by himself. Of course, the play would have been called back anyway, but not something you want to see the coaches look at, you know, on films on Monday.
Holding, offense, declined, 4th down.
Now Dave Clark goes in motion, comes out there, and he's drifting over here in the right-hand part of the screen. No one has picked him up. Everybody's going for the wide receivers. and he just simply drops the football.
They'll have to kick it away. John Bruno will come in to do the honors, and Keita Covington standing at his own 30-yard line. Bruno averaged 41.4 a year ago, and Maryland put some pressure on him but didn't get it. Covington sees it bounce out of bounds just inside the 30-yard line, and Maryland will start from there with 9:39 to go in the half, and the Terps really need to get on the scoreboard on a day where it's approaching 100 degrees at field level. 9 minutes, 39 seconds to go, second quarter from Byrd Stadium in College Park. It's Penn State by 17. 9:39 left in the half, and Penn State has dominated 17-0, and Stan Gelbaugh is going to have to get his offense going. He is only 4 out of 10 so far, 2 interceptions, and this is from a young man who was number 3 in the ACC last year in passing efficiency, even though he only started 5 ball games. And his offense right now is counting on it. Badonic and Blunt are the running backs. Farrell Edmonds, the tight end, shifts to the near side. Edmonds has not caught a pass so far. Gelbaugh, slingshot, Azizadin, Abdur Rauf, still not out of bounds, then driven out at the 40. Boy, he took a shot, and a flag goes down on the sideline. Maryland may have gotten a break on that one, because I don't think Rauf was out of bounds.
Well, Rauf was not out of bounds, but the extra blow by Lance Hamilton at the end of the play was certainly roughing after he should have been down. Unnecessary at best. You were talking a little bit about Stan Gelbaugh. I don't think anything's wrong with Stan Gelbaugh. He's come out, he's been a little flat. I think the whole Maryland ball club right now is a little flat. You get that way. Sometimes you get very listless because of the fact that everything's going against you.
Personal foul, defense, first down.
But Stan Gelbaugh shows a lot of confidence here. That 15-yard out to Abdur Rauf. And Abdur Rauf, once he catches the football, the excitement just happens. Now, that was Lance Hamilton that made that first hit. He came back to deliver a blow.
First down at the Penn State 45-yard line. Badonic and Blunt split. This is Blunt. Got a chance to get some yardage on this one. And Blunt to the 33-yard line. Brought down by Ray Ison, the safety. But Blunt made a nice move on that play and got a couple of good blocks, a 12-yard gain. And you saw Tony Edwards, the tackle, out there clapping his hands and trying to get the crowd in it.
They love to run this cross block. Sean Sullivan makes a great block on that back right there. But there was a super play by also Tony Edwards, who comes out and leads.
And listen to this crowd, more than 50,000 trying to get their favorite Terps back in this one. They're down 17-0, and they need some points. Badonic straight up the middle and hit as he reached the line of scrimmage by number 35, Trey Bauer, and number 73, Pete Kirkendall. Bauer, at 208 pounds, got right in the middle of the line and stood Badonic straight up.
They stood that whole Maryland lineup at that point. And that's something to stop Rick Badonic behind that offensive line for a 2-yard gain. You got to be tough.
Ball spotted just outside the 30. It's second down and 7 yards to go for Maryland. Down 17-0. The clock turning 8:29 to go in the first half. In motion, Azizadin, Abdur Rauf, as Gelbaugh wants to throw. Dumps it off to Badonic. And Badonic flattened as he got inside the 30 to about the 27-yard line. Pete Giftopoulos was out there, along with Duffy Cobbs, the near side cornerback.
In my opinion, in order for Maryland to be successful, you got to get that guy in the ball game. Rick Badonic is a quality back, and he really sparks his whole offensive unit. There's Joe Paterno. Things are going well for him in this first half.
Third down, 4 yards to go. Big play here. Milling is the wide receiver, split to the far side, Holder to the near side. They'll run it out of the eye. Blunt off the right side to the 21-yard line. Trey Bauer, number 35, again had to make the tackle, along with Pete Kirkendall, 73.
Jay Marlavelle, almost 300 pounds, stands up his man and drives him right on out the picture.
Boy, did he
That
ever.
was Pete Kirkendall.
Jeff Halinka, number 62, made a good block, too, to open that hole. Maryland on the move. They'll send both wide receivers to the far side. Blunt now 7 carries, 37 yards. First and 10, Terrapins at the Penn State 20. Badonic cuts it back in. Has 9 yards to the Penn State 11. He was following Dave Amen, the center, And Jeff Holinka, the right guard. Ray Isom had to make the tackle.
Basic offensive football, man-on-man blocking, what we used to call big man-on-man. They got a little shove block there. Look at that block by Dave Amon. Super play. And, of course, Rick Bodanik, once he gets out there, he can motor.
Amon and Holinka just cleaned house in the middle of that Penn State defense. Second down and a yard. Clock running, 6:39 to go first half. Maryland trying to get on the board. Bodanik still on his feet inside the 10. That will be, should be at least, good enough for the first down.
Not much secret at that point who's going to get the football. Bodanik looks tired. Undoubtedly the heat.
You can always tell when you're bending over trying to catch your breath like that. You see Sean Sullivan, number 89, checking in for Maryland.
You can't get enough oxygen at this point.
First and goal for the Terps from the 9-yard line. Sullivan, the wide receiver, right. Aziz and Abdur Rauf is left. Farrell Edmonds in motion. The toss, the blunt, one-hand catch of the toss, and he is brought down on a great play by Lance Hamilton. The right corner played off a block and just stacked him up, and Gelbaugh, I think, almost threw that one away.
Stan Gelbaugh almost did throw it away. A great block by Farrell Edmonds. You see at the top of the screen when he falls back. Now this is a tremendous play by Blunt, who dodges Zordage's tackle. Finally, Lance Hamilton comes up, and he's in the end zone if he doesn't make that tackle.
If Rauf can make the block on Hamilton, Blunt has a chance. Now it's second and goal back at the 11 after a loss of 2. Abdur Rauf split to the wide side of the field. That's where Gelbaugh looks and guns it over the middle, but threw it behind Eric Holder. And he short-armed that pass, and that's something he has done 3 or 4 times so far today. Just tried to flick it with his wrist.
Well, not a great pass by Stan, but should have been caught, quite frankly, when you get down there in that goal line situation. That's a receiver's ball, and he should make that catch regardless of what happens. And Stan looks away, sees his man coming across. I don't think enough effort by Holder, perhaps, but not a good pass by Gelbaugh either.
Third down and goal from the 11. Maryland has had the ball. 17 minutes to only 7 for Penn State, but they haven't scored. Across the middle, and it's complete to Sean Sullivan. But he only was able to get inside the 5-yard line before number 43, Michael Zordich, made the tackle. It is 4th and goal, and Bobby Ross wants a timeout because this is a big decision to make with 5:05 to go in the first half and down 17-0. He will be facing 4th and almost 5.
This is a big decision, Mike. You got to get some points on the board. And yet, Bobby Ross is looking, this is the closest they've been, of course, in a sustained drive. And he's thinking that it's going to be a lot better going at halftime, you know, being 10 down than 14. But he's got to score a field goal to tie this ball game at some point.
That's right. Some point you still have to have the field goal.
Oh, of course, you could look at 3 touchdowns, but I think you've got to be realistic, and you got to play for the tie. There's his stats. Stan Gelbaugh stats: 7 for 14, 72 yards. Again, the big thing there, 2 interceptions that has put Maryland and kept them in a hole. Really led to 10 points.
Joe Paterno watches the action as Maryland sends on the kicking team, and Ramon Paredes, a 5'7" junior out of Arlington, Virginia, who was born in Paraguay, will come on to try the first field goal of his career. He replaces a kicking legend at Maryland, Jess Atkinson, who holds virtually every record. And Paredes has been a great kicker in practice, but they will have to see what he is able to do on the field during a game. They'll spot it at about the 13-yard line, 23-yard attempt. And it's good. Ramon Paredes with 5:02 to go in the first half finally gets Maryland on the board with a 22-yard field goal. And Ken, I don't know about you, but I think that was the right decision for Bobby Ross to make.
I think it was also. He did 2 things in that drive. Of course, he got himself some points, but this guy, Paredes, could be very important to him later in the ball game.
That's right.
And he got that field goal out of the system. That's the very first one.
Maryland will kick off for the first time. 5:02 left in the half. And they finally gotten on the board after Penn State racked up 17 unanswered points.
I think Joe Paterno, after seeing the Miami game of last year, which is considered and is, of course, the greatest comeback in the history of NCAA, does not feel comfortable at all with a 14-point lead at this time. In fact, he might want to go in a little closer, because it seems like the further these guys are down at halftime, the better they play in the second half.
Well, Miami was a top 10 team at the time. They were playing at home. They played brilliantly in the first half. They were up by 31. Everybody left to go out and cut the lawn. And Maryland came back and just hammered them in the second half.
Now, these guys are tired, and they're very, very hot. Now, things will actually get better in the second half. When you're playing in this kind of heat, believe it or not, you do get a little accustomed to it. It doesn't sound like it could be possible, but that first shock of coming out and starting the ball game with the adrenaline going and getting tired initially, it really takes it out of you. After they come in at halftime, get a chance to regroup, they'll be ready to go.
The kickoff comes to Blair Thomas, another speedster. He fumbles the football, and Maryland has it at the 29. Blair Thomas, a reserve tailback who can really fly, brought the kickoff back and lost it. And the Terrapins recover. It's Danny Swingle, the backup safety man, who fell on the ball at the 29. And the Terps are back in business. There's little doubt where we're playing if you listen to that crowd noise. Now, Blair Thomas, somebody got a hand on that ball, barely taking the ball, knocking it out. Big, big play. Maryland's in this ball game, and if they come back and score, it's a new game. It's exactly what the Terps had to have at this point. So many things had gone wrong for them in the first half. Badonic and Blunt in the eye. And it's Blunt. Won't get much. Shane Conlon, number 31, an excellent athlete, being asked to play a very difficult position in that Penn State defensive scheme. He is both a defensive end and an outside linebacker at 222 pounds, and they say he is quick enough still he can go back and play safety.
Oh, he's probably a 4'6", maybe a 4'6'5", but Bob White is not much bigger at 6'3", 236, really a 3-year starter defensive end. They're tough kids for that kind of weight.
Play takes a long time to develop, and Conlon very quick, can fight off blocks. Second down, 8 yards to go from the Penn State 28-yard line. Back in the eye again. Blunt gets to the 22-yard line. Really took a shot over there from Lance Hamilton, but Blunt got up in a hurry, and Hamilton is slow to get to his feet.
Alvin Blunt is tired. He needs some help. Lynn Lynch showing a lot of hustle, getting down there, making a block on Rogers Alexander.
Blunt and Hamilton will both come out of the ball game for a breather. And Stephen Scriber, number 45, is into the ball game for Maryland on 3rd and 2. Another big play in a first half of big plays. Holder in motion. Badonic. First down and more to about the 17-yard line. And on the bottom of the pile is number 95, Rogers Alexander.
Did you have any doubt who was going to carry that football with a 3rd and 2 situation? Great block over there by Pharaoh Edmonds, the big tight end. But Rick Badonic has been the money player for the Maryland Terrapins for the last 3 years. He's very tired. They need him in this game.
Badonic leads Maryland in career points, 214. He has 34 touchdowns in 33 games. Today, 9 carries and 36 yards. Scriber, the deep man in the eye behind Badonic on 1st and 10. Badonic straight up the middle. Breaks it inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. Don Graham, number 53, had to make the tackle from an inside linebacker spot. And now Maryland has got the offensive line opening some holes.
Dave Amon was a defensive tackle last year, but he came in and he made a tremendous block along with Jeff Alinka, and Rick Badonic did the rest.
Amon is 269 pounds out of Baltimore. And most of the time he is going against a player, a defensive tackle, who is almost 20 pounds lighter than he is. 2:37 to go. Second down, a yard to go for Maryland at the Penn State 8. It's 17-3 Nittany Lions. Badonic. Touchdown. Rick Badonic with his 35th career touchdown in 34 ball games. And Maryland, after after being down 17-0, has cut the lead to 17-9, and Ramon Paredes will be on to try to make it 17-10.
Rick Badonic, before he gets through, will rewrite most of the records, if he hasn't already, in Maryland scoring.
Dan Henning is the holder, puts it down at the 10, and Paredes knocks it straight up and through.
If you don't think Rick Badonic's a horse, just picture yourself down on the goal line. He takes that ball, makes that cut back. Now watch Pete Kirkendall and Mike Zordich, who are good football players, and they can't bring him down.
The bowling ball with kneecaps.
Look at the move he makes right at the time he gets the football. He's looking. He makes his decision, and once he makes his decision, there's no turning back. And I tell you, you'd have to be pretty tough to stop him.
Offensive line opened quite a hole, as you can see on that replay, and Badonic gets a little cool water for his trouble on the sideline.
You better take care of it.
2:27 to go, and Badonic has now scored at least one touchdown in his last 10 ball games. That is quite a stat.
This is his 11th ball game, I believe, that he scored at least one touchdown.
Coates and Blair Thomas are deep. Thomas, you'll remember, fumbled the last one to set up this touchdown, and turnovers have been so important in this ball game.
They sure have, Mike. We've got ourselves a game.
Maryland has run 42 offensive plays in this half. Penn State only 18, but the Nittany Lions still have that 7-point lead. Paredes kicks it off, and once again, it's Blair Thomas, this time at the goal line. 10, 20, and gets into about the 26-yard line. Sean Scott, the reserve linebacker, down on kick coverage and makes the stop at the 26. Now what do you do if you're Joe Paterno? You've seen the momentum swing to Maryland with 2:21 to go in the first half. You play it close to the vest?
I guarantee you, if you're smart, you're going to play it close to the vest at this point. Maybe come with a screen pass, maybe a draw, but I don't think you want to give Maryland back that football in that territory at this point.
Timpson, the sprinter, is not in the ballgame. And a receiver for Penn State. Eric Hamilton, 30, and Ray Roundtree, number 6, are in there. They'll give it to Smith, the fullback, straight up the middle. Smith hit immediately by Tommy Parker, number 91, and gains maybe a yard.
The big thing you have to do, of course, is not give Maryland back that ball too easily. Now, Penn State really faces the dilemma. Do they open up and throw the football right now? Knowing Joe Paterno, he probably will. He's not a guy to play it real close at this point, and I look for him to throw something short and hope to turn something good into it.
Mike Timpson, number 5, is into the ball game. He is the burner who has already gone deep a couple of times for John Schaefer. David Clark is in at tailback. Second down and 9. Clock running with 1:43 to go, and Schaefer is burning up all the time he possibly can. Wants to throw short and does. To Smith, the fullback, nowhere to go. O'Brien Alston right there with him, and a flag goes down at the spot of the tackle. O'Brien Alston, number 60, sophomore reserve linebacker, and I think the Maryland depth may be starting to play a factor in this ballgame.
They took the flag back. No penalty.
Maryland has 2 timeouts left. There's 1:32 to go. They'll start the clock now. It'd be a third down facing them. You wonder when they will lose or use those timeouts.
Well, there's a Maryland offensive line, and right now they're trying to decide whether they want the ball back, but believe me, they'll get up if they get it back. They're tired right now. They want to go in and regroup.
And Joe Paterno waving his arms. The clock did not start for about 15 seconds. This could be a break for Maryland. Schaefer to throw over the middle. Picked off by Donald Brown. Brown is tackled at the Penn State 49-yard line. Maryland has the ball back with 1:21 to go. 2 timeouts left. And that time Schaefer made the bad pass and not Stan Gelbaugh.
This was not a good pass, of course.
Well, it should be plenty of time with 1:17 and 2 timeouts. Gelbaugh 7 out of 14, 74 yards and 2 interceptions. Maryland did it primarily with a run last time. This is Scriber, and Scriber will get about 4 yards. They're not going to be able to run it in that amount of time. Stan Gelbaugh is going to have to throw the ball.
Well, as you say, they've got 2 timeouts. Now, here's a situation. If you want to go get the yardage, it's down the middle. It's not to the outside, but you've got to have some timeouts.
2nd and 6, Gelbaugh straight back. Whips it sideline to Raouf, and he'll get out of bounds. Abdur Raouf at the 37-yard line. Chased out of bounds by Dwayne Downing. And Duffy Cobbs, number 16, 9-yard pickup.
As our comrade down the truck, Haven Moses, knows, 54 seconds is a lifetime. If you need the yardage, the place to go is down the middle. If you can work that ball down and you got your timeouts and you can preserve them, God bless you.
1st and 10 Maryland, just outside the Penn State 36-yard line. Both wide receivers to the top of your screen. They want to go for the screen. Gelbaugh sacked and fumbled the football, got it back. Bob White, who led the team in sacks a year ago, got him. And that time, it was not Stan Gelbaugh's fault. He looked to Rick Bodanik, and the Penn State defense was all over that screen.
Well, they're setting up that little screen. They run it consistently. Bodanik floats out. They hit and release. He cannot get the ball. Good, smart play by Stan Gelbaugh, really trying to eat that ball. But Bob White, of course, right in on top of him, and a super recovery at that point to maintain possession.
Maryland called it second timeout. They have one left. That's the second time Stan Gelbaugh has been sacked this afternoon. And it will make it 2nd and 22. And now I guess Maryland has to start thinking, if we can get a little closer, maybe we can go for the field goal at least.
If I keep saying it enough, maybe we'll get a pass down the middle.
That's right.
At this point, again, your big yardage is down the middle.
Coming up at halftime, we invite you to stay with us. We'll look at One for the Books, a feature that people seem to really love last year. Our Jefferson Pilot scoreboard will be coming up. We'll have Haven Moses join us as a guest, and we'll have some halftime highlights. Been some big plays here in this first half, and turnovers have really made the difference.
Well, the turnovers have been everything in this ball game, of course. And you go back to one of the biggest turnovers, Blair Thomas, of course, the return man for Penn State. Got Maryland back in the ball game. This is going to be a crucial, crucial series for Penn State. They have to go in after getting ahead and really dominating the whole first quarter and part of the second quarter. This will be a tremendous letdown for them.
Second down, 22 for Maryland from the Nittany Lions 48. Gelbaugh chased out of the pocket, throws sideline, complete to Alvin Blunt. Blunt run out of bounds to the sideline. Very short gain. I think Gelbaugh that time was looking deep down the middle and nobody available and dumped it off to Blunt.
Go right back to it. You got to go back to it. You got to take a chance to get that ball down in time to, of course, try to make a field goal. It lays pressure from Tim Johnson on that play, forced him to get rid of the ball to Blunt.
Gelbaugh, 9 out of 16, only 86 yards and 2 interceptions here in the first half. Looks over the defense on 3rd and 17, 40 seconds to go. Gelbaugh got it away, and it was almost intercepted. He was hit from behind by number 31, Shane Conlon, who got past Len Lynch on pass protection. Mike Euler almost made the interception, number 82. And now Maryland, instead of being able to capitalize, is going to have to punt it away with 35 seconds left. Gelbaugh seems just a little bit gun-shy right now to throw the ball downfield.
I think he made good decisions on that whole series.
Wright slices it off the side of his foot out of bounds.
Not what you need.
A poor kick for Darrell Wright, but it's not going to make much difference, I believe, with 29 seconds to go. And I doubt that Penn State will put it up for grabs again.
I have a feeling they'll probably run this one out.
Maryland fans give their team a big hand. And some of the Penn State fans, and there are quite a few of them here, cheer the fact that the Nittany Lion defense was able to hold that time.
Well, you can sense the turnaround. You really can. It just looks like that whole ball club, the Maryland ball club on the sidelines, have come alive. And there's a different game out there, a different atmosphere.
Emotion is the 12th man. There's no doubt about it. 29 seconds to go. Penn State 1st and 10. Dozier is back in the ball game, along with the starting fullback Steve Smith, number 33. And they'll give it to Dozier on the draw. Messner chasing him and has him in the backfield. It'll be a loss of about 4 yards as Bruce Messner, the junior from Harrison, New York, an all-ACC performer, tracked down Dozier and got him with 14 seconds left in the half, and that's going to be the last play of the first half here at Byrd Stadium in College Park, Maryland. Set to go with the third quarter of action from College Park, Maryland. There's Rick Bodanik, who had a very good second quarter, scored Maryland's touchdown on a run up the middle, and Maryland will kick off. Ramon Paredes will do the honors.
You know, Mike, I had a chance to talk to Bodanik yesterday out on the field. It was really hot out on the football field, and I said, how do you approach playing a game in 100-degree weather? And he said, hey, you just got to go out there and play. We can't worry about it.
Jim Coates, number 49, to the near side. Blair Thomas, number 32, to the far side, awaiting the kick. And And it's going to be Coates, who was such an outstanding kick return man a year ago. Across the 20, 27-yard line. O'Brien Alston down on coverage along with Joe Bailey. And Penn State will start with good field position at its own 27-yard line, leading 17-10.
John Schaefer had a great first half. 7 of 12, 86 yards, 1 TD, only 1 interception. That could have been a crucial interception. He's really got the pressure on him right now. He came out, he was loose, and I look for him to tighten up a little bit. This is the situation he didn't expect.
Hamilton 30 and Roundtree number 6 are the wide receivers. DJ Dozier, the tailback behind 33 Smith in the Penn State I. And Dozier, who carried only 3 times in the first half, tries to get outside. And Kelly tripped him up, and Donald Brown came up from the corner to make sure he stayed that way. Steve Kelly, the right outside linebacker, a great job staying with DJ Dozier.
Tremendous pursuit by that Maryland defensive line. Steve Kelly getting out along with Donald Brown. DJ Dozier's got a world of speed to the outside, but he's not going to outrun Steve Kelly today. I look for Penn State to try to get Dozier more involved in the offense.
Dozier, they say he is over that knee injury, but he does not look quite as quick as before the injury. No gain on the play, 2nd and 10. That's right. This is Smith on the draw. Fights off a couple of tackles. Al Covington was with him along with Chapman as he crossed the 30 to about the 32-yard line. Dozier now 4 carries, 10 yards.
You know, you can ask a ball player so many times whether his leg is getting better. Sometimes it starts feeling worse if you think about it enough.
And the crowd begins to cheer as Penn State faces its first 3rd down situation of the second half. They split the backs and Schaefer to throw. Over the middle. Fawcett intercepts the 30, and Dozier drives him out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Chuck Fawcett picked it off with one hand and brought it back 13 yards. You wonder why he has good hands. He was an outfielder for the Toronto Blue Jays system.
They were trying to hit Bob DiMedio across the middle just on a little pop to try to pick up that first down. Joe Paterno now worried. Here's the setup. Schaefer gives a little play action fake. He's looking for DiMedio. Watch his interception. A bounce up. That's what they work on in practice. 13-yard return by Chuck Fawcett. DJ Dozier gets out, makes a tackle, and a pretty good tackle. Get a chance to see the overall secondary drop. Chuck Fawcett, the left-hand side of the screen. What an interception. Comes up with the football. Maryland's got excellent field position at about the 27-yard line.
And did you see number 18, Al Covington? He came up and buried DiMedio. Penn State has turned the ball over 3 times in a little more than a quarter, and Rick Badonic and company are trying to get even. Gelbaugh on what looked like a broken play. Looked like he wanted to hand it off and then pitch it. There was nobody there. And Chris Collins, number 38, made sure Gelbaugh couldn't do anything with it.
Well, I know what Rick Badonic thought. Rick Badonic thought it was going to be a pitch to Alvin Blunt. And I think Stan Gelbaugh thought the same thing. The only person that didn't think that was Alvin Blunt. Bobby Ross, not very happy right now. Gets that ball back. Not a good situation when you get that ball back after a turnover.
Really not a bad play by Gelbaugh. If he tosses that ball as he's supposed to and Blunt doesn't see it, it could be another turnover. 2nd down, 11 yards to go. Farrell Edmonds on the end around. The big man trying to get outside. This guy can fly. Edmonds to the 12-yard line. 17-yard carry by the best athlete on the ball club, Farrell Edmonds.
Look at the end around. Farrell Edmonds got a world of speed. 99, Awatoa Polomalu misses him, but he's out. He's got speed to burn, about a 4.6. And finally, the tackle's made downfield.
That's the first time Farrell Edmonds has touched the ball today, and he is a game breaker. 1st and 10 Maryland at the Penn State 12. Badonic. Whoa. Nothing. Stacked up in the middle by Matt Johnson, and a flag goes down.
Could be a face mask. I didn't see exactly what happened at the end. It was a face mask.
It is. And a break for Maryland because Badonic was met in the hole by a couple of white shirts.
Well, you keep waiting for Farrell Edmonds to get more involved in the game. He's a super athlete. The Maryland people think he's the best tight end potentially that they've ever had. And they've had some good ones. John Tice, Eric Siemers.
Sure.
Wrestling the face mask by the defense, a 5-yard penalty.
But you've got to get him more involved in the game. And of course, that's one way to do it.
A 5-yard penalty on the face mask violation as you look at Joe Paterno. Let's take a look.
All right, there we see, I think that occurred right there, just a passing glance by 51 Johnson.
1st and 5 as Maryland has 2 tight ends in the ballgame. Blunt and Badonic, the running backs. Blunt cuts it back, gets to about the 5-yard line and no further. Bob Onko, number 93, was in on the tackle.
Something's going on. Blunt is not hearing the plays or something, because Badonic just told him which way the play was going. He did not know. He was hollering at the quarterback Gelbaugh, wanting him to repeat that, and Badonic finally turned around and hit his left leg as if we're going left.
So much noise down there at the closed end of the stadium. If Gelbaugh is calling audibles, you might not be able to hear anything. 2nd down and 3. Badonic. And he just smells the end zone. Rick Badonic with his 2nd touchdown of the game, the 36th in his career in 34 ball games, and when he gets to the 1 or 2 yard line, you can forget it.
You know, they can do what they want to, but they might forget all those records on scoring. I don't know anybody's going to score more.
Maryland trick play, they go for 2. And Henning throws it into the end zone to Chris Knight, the tight end. And Maryland takes the lead 18-17.
Well, they're known as the comeback kids. They can pull it all out at any time. A tremendous offense. Here's Rick Badonic. He zooms up. Now Dwayne Downing is out there. He's got to make the last blow, but Badonic just rolls over top of him. They get outside. Now Farrell makes a great play. He gets out, just gets a piece of the linebacker, just enough. He gets Onko, and of course there's Badonic into the end zone, and if you're defensive back, you're in trouble. Now watch him beat the linebackers. There you go, just a little piece of Onko, enough to get Badonic past him and out and into the end zone.
And then Maryland gambled and took Dan Henning, the holder, and he threw to Chris Knight for the 2-point conversion. Timeout with 11:25 to go, 3rd quarter. Maryland by 1, and we'll be back after this word from our local station. The Cardiac Kids of Maryland have taken an 18-17 lead over Penn State with 11:25 to go in the 3rd quarter, and that is what has happened to Penn State. A fumble and 2 interceptions have led to all 18 Maryland points. Maryland gave 10 to Penn State in the 1st half.
He's hurting. He's tired.
He may be more than tired. It looks like they're working on a knee or a thigh right now.
Well, I think when he went into the end zone, the defensive back probably got him right above the knee. A little Charlie wash.
Coates from his own end zone. Doesn't reach the 20-yard line. Danny Swingle, number 17, and number 60, O'Brien Alston, down there on kick coverage. The 2nd involvement of O'Brien Alston on kick coverage today. And Penn State, for the first time, trailing after leading 17-0. They're now down 18-17, and John Schaefer is going to have to regroup that offense, and we'll see if DJ Dozier can do anything.
It's a different situation for Schaefer now, playing from behind. We'll see what kind of quarterback he is.
Dozier is on the wing. Smith, the only man left in the backfield. 4-man rush, Schaefer over the middle, and it's complete to Dominio. The big tight end reaches midfield before Don Brown knocks him down. 33-yard pickup, and Schaefer has really been impressive.
You want to see what kind of quarterback he is? Can he come back from adversity? Here he is in a straight drop back pattern. Now Dominio just split the seam of that zone. They had 2 men running streak patterns. Nobody picks him up. He makes it now. He gets a heck of a hit at this point by Donald Brown.
1st and 10, Penn State, 50-yard line. Once again, Dozier goes to a wing. They like to throw to him out there. And they've got Timpson, the speedster. They'll go to Dozier on the screen. Got away from Scott Tye. Dozier with a great move there. Left Scott Tye, the 262-pound right tackle, in his tracks. Here's how the Terps did it in only 2:07 after the turnover. 5 plays, and Badonic went in, and then Henning tonight for the 2-point conversion to give Maryland the lead. 2nd down, 5 yards to go. Ball at the Maryland 45-yard line. Schaefer again trying to split the zone and does to Roundtree. Caught the ball, then dropped it after he was out of bounds. But it will be a completion inside the 30. And Schaefer really has a nice touch.
Raymond Roundtree's a fine receiver, only his second year, injured most of last year. He's getting outside that defensive back, Scott, and then he makes the toss, and it takes a lot of poise to throw that ball in there because he got Donald Brown coming up to close, and he's threading the needle.
Boy, Donald Brown's eyes light up when he sees somebody with a football and just goes after him. But it's another first down for Penn State as they have been able to capitalize on the Maryland zone pass defense very well. Schaefer again to throw. This time he overthrows Roundtree. Donald Brown on the coverage.
Now Schaefer called an audible. He had Donald Brown turned, but just couldn't come out in time to catch the football. Schaefer is poised. For a guy who really has not played a lot of football, came in at the end of last season when Doug Strang was hurt, played in some losing situations where really it's hard to count it against him, but throwing 7 interceptions last year to only 1 touchdown, people really did doubt whether he was accurate enough.
His numbers are just fine this afternoon. 10 out of 17, 140 yards, a touchdown. He has had 2 interceptions. Second down, 10 yards to go. Timpson, the man in motion, and they'll throw over the middle, incomplete. Tried to hit Brian Seiberling, but Scott Shankweiler, number 30, was right there in his face and pulled his arms down, stripped him of the ball.
Joe Paterno impresses me in his offensive scheme of things. He's not really greedy. He takes what he's got. He uses those big guys, and that's just a matter of going out trying to pick up 5 or 6 yards of pop. And of course, without Scott Shankweiler making that play, they would have.
Schaefer now 10 out of 18. This is a big play for the Nittany Lions. 3rd and 10 from the Maryland 29. And it looks like Schaefer is calling another audible as Maryland shows 7 men on the front. They're coming. The ball's tipped in the air, and Schaefer will catch it and then drop it. And the crowd absolutely loves it.
Tempers are beginning to get up. You know, when you get hot, you get tired. Sometimes you'd rather fight than play.
Ted Chapman, the man credited with the tip, and then Scott Tye buried Schaefer after he tried to catch it.
But I tell you, it takes a lot more energy to fight than to play.
Monka will come in for a long field goal attempt. It will be from the 37-yard line, so a 47-yard try out of the hold of Matt Kisner.
Interesting thing about Masio Monka, he only has 6 field goals in his career. Now 5 of those are against Maryland.
That's right.
In 1983, he was 4 for 4.
47-yard attempt that could give his club the lead again. It's long enough, and it's true. Massimo Monka, 46-yard field goal, and Penn State has regained the advantage. That's right. Timeout, 3rd quarter, 9:46 to go. The Nittany Lions of Penn State 20, the Maryland Terrapins 18. 9 minutes, 46 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. Penn State has regained the lead. This is how Maryland had the lead moments ago, and watch how Badonic gets hit at the end.
Well, Rick goes into the end zone, and watch the tackle right there. Gets him right above the knee. He's got a little Charlie horse, but you're going to need a stun gun to stop him. I don't think a Charlie horse is going to keep him out of this ball game.
Penn State will kick off. Monka, after a 46-yard field goal that has given his club the lead again. After only a 6-play drive, 20-18 Penn State. Nittany Lions will kick off, and Keita Covington, the deep safety for Maryland, standing at his own 5. He's averaged 23.7 yards a return so far today. This time they'll kick it in the end zone, and it will go out of bounds. Covington can't field it, and Maryland will start at the 20. And there's Rick Badonic on the sideline, and it looks like he's got an ice pack on that thigh, and he is not coming into this offensive set.
There's no doubt about it, he's hurting, and I've had the same injury before. You know, a hard runner like that who stays low to the ground, a lot of times the defensive backs will come up and undercut you, and he didn't get off his feet going into the end zone.
Stan Gelbaugh leads out the Maryland offense. He is 9 of 17 today, only 87 yards and 2 interceptions. The Terps now have to fight from behind once again. Scriber is in at fullback, And Stephen Schreiber will get the toss. He's got Blunt in front of him. Schreiber across the 30 to the 35, 36-yard line. Ray Isom made the tackle.
Almost a fantastic play by Tim Johnson. Now Schreiber is going to have a bigger and bigger role in this Maryland offense. He's running the play that Adonica, of course, has patented, and he almost loses the ball here. Watch, he trips, and then they hit the ball. It almost pops out, but he does a great job of holding on to it, and finally picks himself up a good 10 yards.
20 to 18. Penn State leads by 2. Gelbaugh back to throw, wants to dump it off through it too hard for Blunt.
Oh, it's wide open. Alvin Blunt not playing his best today. Bobby Ross not happy with it, of course. It's a screen they've patented. They get those backs out on those small linebackers and small defensive backs, and they can be awfully, awfully tough.
Holder comes in with a play from Bobby Ross on 2nd and 10.
They're turning loose a linebacker in those plays, Mike, and they'll put some pressure on him. He's got to get rid of the football. It's not Gelbaugh's fault when he throws it quick like that.
2nd down and long from the 35. They'll give it to Blunt. Following Marlovell. And a good play by the Penn State defense, particularly Rogers Alexander, number 95, who took on Marlovell and still was able to make the tackle.
Rogers Alexander right here, and a local boy from Riverdale, went to DeMatha High School. Tough kid, going to be a four-year letterman. Strings it out. Now watch him read the play. Stays out in front of that guard's block. Now comes up, and you got the impression that Blunt could have cut back, but I don't think there was anything he could do. Marlovell trying to do the best he can. Good play by Rogers Alexander.
Alexander grew up 5 minutes from here at Byrd Stadium, and he just made a big play for the Nittany Lions. 3rd and 8, Gelbaugh to throw. 5-man rush. Pass complete. That's Holder at the sideline, knocked out of bounds at the 50. Make it Sean Sullivan. Driven out of bounds by Lance Hamilton.
It's awfully difficult to really be able to read that Maryland offense. They do a good job of disguising. Alvin Blunt is out there also. I've got to believe he turned out the wrong way. Sean Sullivan making a good catch, finally driven out of bounds by Lance Hamilton. Alvin Blunt could have gotten into the way on that pass.
But there's a flag down, and they're talking to Penn State. It looks like this one will come back as Rogers Alexander looks over at Joe Paterno. I don't know why they would even consider not bringing it back, as Maryland had the 1st down up around the 50-yard line, and it was a hold.
Holding. Offense is declined. 4th down.
They must have ruled the pass incomplete.
But I don't exactly understand that.
I don't either.
Hold on, folks. It's got to be 3rd down.
If they decline the penalty, Maryland should have the ball at the 50-yard line. Maybe we'll get an explanation here. Now they're saying, oh, we want the penalty.
They're the ones that make a 59-year-old man become 79. Joe Paterno, 59 coming into the game, 79 coming out.
Well, somebody on Penn State's side.
The offense during the pass was complete. Pass to the penalties from the previous spot, 10 yards. 3rd down.
Well, it does make a little bit more sense.
I thought I'd lost my mind there for a minute.
I agree.
Now make it 3rd down and 18 as Maryland is pushed back 10 inside its own 30. They'll saddle up and rip after Stan Gelbaugh on this one. Alexander on the blitz from the blind side. That pass was tipped. Somebody in the Penn State front wall tipped the pass, and Chris Knight could not turn around to get it, and Maryland will have to punt it away.
Very dangerous pass. That was a no-win situation right there.
Gelbaugh coming off talking to the Maryland coaching staff.
Now, when an offense is not going great guns for you, you need that great defense to step in. Of course, the Maryland defense has had their problem. Last year, giving up 23 points a ball game, not known for stout defense, always depending on the offense to score a lot of points.
Darrell Wright, a high floating kick, and this is Coates at his 33. No fair catch, and he's buried. Lewis Askew down on kick coverage after a 39-yard punt and no return. 8 minutes, 24 seconds to go, 3rd quarter from Byrd Stadium in College Park. It's Penn State by 2 over Maryland. Penn State has the football. 1st and 10 from its own 33-yard line, leading 20-18 with 8.5 minutes to go, third quarter. Schaefer back to throw. Over the middle, and what a great catch by Roundtree. Took a shot from Al Covington, but held on. 20-yard reception by the sophomore from Aiken, South Carolina.
Well, coming into the ball game, they were an unknown quantity, but you can't say enough about the receivers. Chuck Fawcett, great linebacker, comes up, and Al Covington makes the initial hit, but he paid the price for it. Fawcett
Roundtree
just missed getting that football.
Only caught one ball all of last year. He was injured much of the season, but he had a great spring, and they were really expecting a lot from him, as well as number 5 Mike Timpson, and they have gotten it from both of them today.
Well, I think that what Penn State is doing is taking advantage of the way Maryland plays that drop zone, and they're just eating those seams up. They're sending guys in motion, and then they're taking the outside. The guy in motion will take the ball up the field or take the sideline, and they're sending one of the receivers straight up that seam, and they're picking it apart.
Historically, Penn State has been able to hurt Maryland with the pass. The Terps play that wide tackle 6 defense. It leaves you literally with 3 deep backs, 2 corners and a safety, and if you get caught in that situation, you can simply overload those zones.
Well, it puts a lot of pressure on guys who really aren't your fastest guys on the field, which are your linebacker types here. You have to recruit kind of quasi defensive back linebacker types, 212, 215 type guys who can run. And you've got to have super athletes. Now, Maryland does have super athletes, but it's a tough defense to play against a good quarterback. And right now, you've got a very, very hot quarterback in John Schaefer.
Ray Roundtree with a combination of the hit from Al Covington and the heat still down. Now he's up. Gets a nice hand as he leaves the field. 8:17 to go, third quarter. It's Penn State by 2 over Maryland. Mike Patrick and Ken Willard. Hope you're enjoying the ball game. It's been a great way to start our ACC network season.
Maryland's got to shut this off. They're being hurt. They get them backed up. There'll be third down. All of a sudden they come back and throw that seam, and they're back out of trouble again right down the field.
Schaefer has done a brilliant job. As you see, he's passed for 54 yards in this half alone. Maryland with no passing yardage here in the third quarter. Schaefer with number 44 Manoa behind him, and Manoa will have the football. Kevin Walker, the linebacker, number 44, standing in his way as he crossed the 45 down to about the 42-yard line. Manoa is a big fullback, a junior out of Pittsburgh, 230, maybe a little more. That's Fawcett looking over to the Maryland bench for defensive signals. Penn State, a team 6-5 a year ago, determined to do better this season. Second down, 6 yards. Manoa again, the single setback, and he'll have the ball again, and this time he is dragged down by Neil Sampson, the right guard, in that wide tackle 6.
Nothing fancy. You know, Joe can afford to play for a field goal now. A field goal forces Maryland to score a touchdown on them and still leaves them vulnerable to a later field goal.
That's right. And we're facing 3rd and 3 right now at the 39-yard line.
This is where he's looked to his tight end in later plays or earlier plays.
They'll split the receivers and go out of the eye, and DJ Dozier is the man in the eye behind Manoa. Dozier swings out in the flat. They throw to him, and Dozier heard footsteps on that one. Number 51, Sean Scott, was coming.
I think he heard him. No doubt about it. They were looking to the tight end. The same play they had thrown earlier. Tried to hit Dozier. Dozier was not looking. Neil Sampson had put some pressure on him. He had to get rid of the football, but DJ Dozier caught unaware.
John Bruno is into punt. Keita Covington not really expecting much of a punt, standing into 15. Now he drops back, and Bruno angles it for the sideline and won't get it into the end zone. And Maryland will be able to start from its own 20-yard line. Nice effort by Bruno, just did not get the bounce. Almost put it out at the 2-yard line. Now, we've had a report that Stan Gelbaugh has had a sore arm this week in practice. We don't know if that is true or not. If it was, they kept it very quiet all week and didn't tell anybody. But that might explain why he is throwing the way he's throwing.
Well, I really don't think he's throwing poorly, Mike. I think that he's throwing tentatively at first, but I don't think he's throwing poorly. I think the play selection has been rather suspect occasionally.
Badonic is back in there. They'll give it to Blunt, trying that sweep on the delay again, and Blunt dives forward to about the 27-yard line, and the referee is caught up in a blocking duel between a Maryland offensive lineman and a Penn State linebacker, and the referee is down at the 35-yard line.
Now here's this play. I want you to watch George Colton. He hit Pete Giftopoulos. He just runs him right on out, and Pete Giftopoulos will not be on his back many times, and finally brought down by Aotoa Polamalu. Gee whiz, Giftopoulos was hit so hard on that head up that I imagine that he's wondering what's going on.
And that was Stan Levine, the Maryland team physician, coming out to check with one of the officials to see if he's all right. He got buried under about 500 pounds of beef on that play.
Well, they run that cross action, and it's awfully easy to get caught up in there.
Second down, 3 yards to go after a gain of 7 for Blunt. Badonic very close to the first down. Let's see where they spot it. Chris Collins in on the tackle for the Nittany Lions. Time winding away here in the third quarter. We're under the 6-minute mark. If you joined us late, Penn State led 17-0, taking advantage of Maryland turnovers. The Terrapins stormed from behind to go up by 1, and then Penn State kicked a field goal. There are Badonic's numbers on the day.
Doesn't seem like that leg has kept him out.
He's a tough one. It is a first down for the Terps. 1st and 10, they'll go out of the eye. Blunt the deep man. Gelbaugh fumbles the snap from center and has to go down and get it.
The things that'll hurt you in that first ball game of the season, especially when you have to play a ball club like Penn State. This is a good situation. Of course, the first down situation is a great place to throw the football, and I think that's what they were looking to do at that point. Stan trying to get back and set up too early.
Second down and 11 after a loss of 1. Gelbaugh now 9 out of 19, 87 yards. And the Terps need more than that on the passing game. Under pressure, throws incomplete. Trying to throw for Farrell Edmonds, and a great play by Barry Bookman, who stayed right with the big tight end and knocked it away. Bookman 26.
Mike, something you've alluded to, I have to point out on this play, bad decision to throw the football by Stan Gelbaugh. Barry Bookman's all over top Farrell Edmonds, and he still tries to force the ball in.
He's thrown 4 straight incompletions past Stan Gelbaugh, and is now 9 out of 20. Milling, one wide receiver, comes to the near side. Sean Sullivan to the far side for Maryland on 3rd and 11. And here comes the Penn State blitz. Gelbaugh gets rid of it, and it's between receivers.
Oh, yes, they got him over
and
there.
And the flag is down. The penalty on Dwayne Downing for interference. And that's a good break for Maryland, because that pass wouldn't have been complete, interference or not.
Had a lot of pressure on him, but Dwayne Downing definitely grabbed Sean Sullivan as he started to come out of the break. Pass interference.
And it's going to keep this drive alive.
By hook or crook, they need to get this ball out of that territory.
Right. Now let's see where they'll mark it off. It will go from the line of scrimmage.
I don't know if you get the impression, Mike, but the Maryland ball club looks listless right now. They don't look fired up. I thought they'd come out ready to go.
Illegal use of the hands. Defense.
And they'll call it illegal use of the hands, which makes it a 5-yard penalty. Here's the play.
Here's a play. Gelbaugh sets up. He gets a lot of pressure from the linebackers. Right as they start to turn out, Dwayne Downing had his hands on Sean Sullivan.
So it's still 3rd down, but now 3rd and 6 from the Maryland 33. And they'll run for it. Blunt trying to get outside, and he dives for the marker. But the official marks it at the 38-yard line and not where Blunt landed. So he's going to be 2 yards shy of the first down. Barry Bookman was over there to chase him out of bounds. And Maryland will have to punt it away, bringing number 9, Darrell Wright, onto the field.
A little bit of a surprise call by Bobby Ross, but nevertheless a great effort by Alvin Blunt, almost picking up the first down. At this point in the game, they need some sure things, and those almost are not going to do it.
Wright to punt with one bad kick. His average is below 33 yards. Coates 49, and Timpson number 5. Remember, he is the speedster back to receive. And Wright airs this one out. Timpson at the 15-yard line to about the 24, and the Terps covering pretty well. Danny Swingle again down on kick coverage. Has done a nice job on Maryland special teams. A 48-yard kick that time by Darrell Wright and a 10-yard return. A rather slow-moving third quarter, at least in the last 5 or 6 minutes, as Penn State has a 20-18 lead. The Nittany Lions have the ball back at their own 24-yard line. Can't say enough about the job that John Schaefer has done at the Nittany Lion quarterback spot today. Manoa, the fullback, David Clark, 48, the tailback. Make it Dozier back into the ball game, 42.
Again, that token give to DJ Dozier, their workhorse 2 years ago, and of course last year before he was injured, but really not going with him a lot today. Still that great football player. I don't think he's lost very much, but he's not getting much of an opportunity. Shows that great alertness and quickness, puts his head down, picks himself up 2 or 3 yards.
Oh, you're right. In fairness to him, he has not had a lot of room to run today. Gain of 4 on that, 2nd and 6 for the Nittany Lions. Schaefer under some pressure, and Chapman has it. Ted Chapman, the left tackle, who had 7 sacks a year ago, gets another one. A flag is down, maybe a face mask.
Absolutely, it looked like a face mask. It was a late flag. That hurts.
And that looked like Tommy Parker, 91, who limped off the field.
Now, Schaefer is not very mobile. He slips right here, and all of a sudden, there you go, reach up by Chapman, barely getting his hand on the face mask, but just enough to get the call.
And it will be enough to give Penn State a first down.
5-yard penalty.
Always seeming to make the crucial mistake at the wrong time.
I'm sorry, it is not a first down. It will make it 2nd and 2 from the Penn State 31.
Penalty is not much of a factor in this ball game.
Blair Thomas, number 32, the freshman tailback, is into the ball game at a slot. Schaefer under more pressure. He'll get away this time. And he pays for it. Walker, number 44. Got him along with Steve Kelly, 53.
Well, you can't say enough about the Penn State offensive line. They may not be big. He gets a lot of pressure from Ted Chapman, but he stands in there. He's ready to throw. Now, again, Schaefer's not very mobile, but when he gets out, he's ready to run. Now, he comes up and gets shillelaghed by Walker and Kelly at this point.
But it's another Penn State first down at their own 38-yard line.
Maryland starting to make a move, makes the crucial mistake, keeps Penn State in the ball game.
2 minutes, 45 seconds to go, third quarter. This is the big fullback Manoa, dragging people with him until Kevin Walker, his opposite number 44, is in on the tackle along with Kelly.
Now, there's not much secret. There's not a lot of mystery to this play. Straight give to the fullback, of course, letting that offensive line go man on man. And, of course, you know, they'd love to keep that defensive line out there of Maryland's as long as they could, just to wear them out. They're doing a good job of it at this point. Now, look at the Maryland players. It's miserable.
2nd down, 4 yards to go for Penn State. They lead by 2, nearing the end of the third quarter. Kisner is into the ball game at quarterback. And Kisner seeing his first action of the day. I don't know if anything happened to Schaefer or why Kisner came in the ball game. Maybe it was that last hit when he was double teamed and they put Kisner in the game. He picks up 8 yards.
Now, Joe Paterno's not afraid to make a move. If John Schaefer was in good shape after that run, kind of a gutsy move on the part of Paterno. Schaefer may have been shaken up.
Schaefer down on one knee. I think he's probably just a little bit gassed right now. Penn State, 1st and 10. They'll give it off this time to Blair Thomas. Loose football. Maryland has it. Blair Thomas, the freshman running back, lost the ball, and Richie Pettibone got in there for the Terps.
Not a very auspicious start for the young freshman, Blair Thomas. They run that little cross counter action. A good give. They got the guard in front. He simply drops the football. Remember, Matt Kisner had just come into the ball game. You got a different quarterback in there handing off. Now, Richie Pettibone, always alert, jumps in and gets himself another fumble recovery.
That is the second fumble of the ball game for Blair Thomas. Remember, he fumbled the kickoff return. Maryland 1st and 10 at the Penn State 42. Boy, if turnovers made a difference in this one. But Bodonick, he loses it and got it back at the 39. Tim Johnson, number 55, had it right in front of him, and Bodonick reached out with one big paw and brought it back.
Richie Pettibone made a great play in getting that fumble. Now, you've got to look at the fact how hot it is out there and how tired these players are. Bodonick comes off the field. He just dropped the football. He should not have been tired, of course, because he was on the sidelines prior to that play. But the ball does get slippery when you're sweating, and it's hard to hang on to it.
Pettibone's dad, the defensive coordinator of the Washington Redskins. 2nd and 6 for Maryland inside the Penn State 40. This is Scriber. Stephen Scriber near the 41-yard line.
Mike, it looks like both these ball clubs are jabbing at each other, just waiting for somebody to make a big mistake. No one's going out and really taking control of this football game.
Well, mistakes have been the order of the day. It's been turnovers that have helped put most of the points on the board this afternoon here in College Park.
3rd and 3 on the 36.
30 seconds to go, third quarter. Maryland getting very close to Paredes field goal range. They'll shift back in the eye on 3rd and 3. Scriber, the up man. Blunt. Right side, Blunt, first down and more to the 26, 27-yard line. And it's Ray Isom, the free safety, who has to make the stop after a 10-yard gain for Alvin Blunt.
Alvin Blunt looking like he's floating. Now, there were 2 tackles missed. Tim Johnson and Bob White both missed him, but here he is. He looks like there's Bob White. And, of course, finally, he gets some help from Ray Isom coming up and making the tackle.
Alvin Blunt, 15 carries, 67 yards, and it's another first down for the Terps.
Many of these injuries, of course, that we're seeing are really fatigue-related, Mike. A lot of these kids are very, very tired, and it doesn't take many plays to get that fatigue. You can be out there 4 or 5 plays at a time, and you're really worn out, and that, of course, invites fatigue, invites injuries, and, of course, you just cannot keep yourself going.
And until we can properly identify that Penn State player that's down, we're not going to pass it on to you.
Stan Gelbaugh had his problems today. Has not played as effectively as he would have liked to have played. Seems to have had a little bit of problems earlier this week with an arm. But the whole Maryland ball club very, very tired. 94 degrees right now, but that big 74% humidity, very light variable wind, and it's burning up here. I'd say we're talking about 97, 98 degrees up here, but we feel a lot better than those guys down there.
Tim Johnson is the injured Penn State player. He's being helped off. Yeah, at least we're not wearing football suits, you know?
I wish we could take these ties off.
1st and 10, Maryland. Let's see if they get the play off before the end of the quarter. Only 5 seconds left and the clock is turning. Gelbaugh looking over the defense. And he will not get the play off.
And I often wonder why in the world do they go up there if they don't have any intention to get the play off, because you have only one thing in mind, and that's an error or a mistake being made by kids jumping or being too concerned about the clock.
That's the end of the third quarter. 15 minutes of football left from College Park, Maryland. It's Penn State 20, Maryland 18. First and 10, Maryland. Abdur Rauf is in motion. The pitch goes to Bodonick, trying the left side, and he will only get to the 25-yard line. Gain of only about a yard. They just announced to the crowd here at College Park that there are fire hydrants being opened up outside the stadium so people can cool off. It's a shame they don't have a couple in here.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll leave and go out.
Yeah. It's a fan on the sideline, and they try to get that to blow across some ice to give them a little bit of a breeze.
They did. The ice is melted.
Second down, 8 yards to go. Maryland within field goal range, trailing by 2. Blunt hit in the backfield. Bob White, number 34, came crashing across from his defensive end spot and had Blunt before he could get going. Here are the stats at the end of the third period. Maryland continues to dominate, but the edge is getting a little bit closer. 259 total yards to 227. And only 87 yards passing for the Terps. Maryland has no yards in the air in this half, and Gelbaugh has to throw on 3rd and 7. Dumps it off to Badonic, and Badonic inside the 20, near the 18-yard line. They may be about a yard shy of the first down.
Big decision. Now, Gelbaugh is not getting the maximum out of his passing game. He gets out, he rolls out. He's very capable of throwing on the run. And of course, he hits Badonic. Now, watch Isom come up and sacrifice his body when you come up and hit a 217-pounder. And again, he's down. Isom just dropped, and he's trying to get himself up at this point.
Now, he was up for a while, just fell down. Now, you take a shot to the head on a day like today, and
looks like it's his leg. Delayed reaction leg shot. I think my head would have. Of course, Ray is the leading tackler coming off last year, and I would think that Joe could ill afford to lose him.
It's one of those plays where you're so tired you don't know where it hurts.
We got a chance to see Isom come up. Of course, Gelbaugh looking further downfield, has to throw it short. Now, Badonic turns up, and right as he turns up, Isom comes in, and of course, it looked like he got hit in the head, but they're working on his leg, which I guess is a plus.
I'll bet it hurts everywhere.
I think so.
Isom will trot off the field under his own power. And let's see what Bobby Ross decides to do on 4th and 1. Well in field goal range for Ramon Paredes.
I think you'll get an idea of how confident he is in Ramon. And I think he's already given us an answer.
How confident he is in his offense, because Paredes is not in there. And the Terps are out to go for it on 4th and 1.
Guess who?
You wouldn't want to bet against number 40. And it is Badonic. Depending on where they mark it, closer to the 16, it is a first down if they mark it at the 16-yard line.
Yeah, it's a first down.
50,000 plus people knew that Rick Badonic was going to get the football, and everybody in a white suit knew he was going to get it too.
Rick Badonic, nothing fancy. They like to run that little pitch, little toss to him. He makes a hurdle right at the line of scrimmage and really just trips down, but it's a look at that offensive surge of those big guys. Rick Badonic very capable of getting up in there and making the play. It's a first down.
I think Penn State asked for the measurements. I believe the officials had already indicated first down, but Penn State wanted to make sure.
I'd ask for it too, because he had to stop action. I get a chance to breathe.
Ray Isom comes back into the ballgame for Penn State after being out for one play. Right now, let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. First and 10 Terrapins. They have done it all on the ground here in the second half. One complete pass play. Badonic didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. And once again, it was the big play man, Bob White, number 34.
Again, it looks like Maryland is out of sync. They're not really in their offensive flow of things. They're hoping for something to happen instead of going out and attacking. And quite frankly, the play calling is very, very conservative. And maybe Bobby Ross has a good reason for calling it conservatively. Maybe Stan Gelbaugh does have a bad arm.
Maryland has run 68 offensive plays to date, only 42 for Penn State. Our statistician Marty Aronoff keeping us up to date. John Aronoff, our spotter, keeping us up to date on the players. Blunt to about the 12-yard line, and this time it's Trey Bauer, the junior linebacker from Paramus, New Jersey.
Very active linebackers on the part of Penn State. You see Rogers Alexander there, and Trey Bauer coming up. Trey Bauer, not a big guy, 208 pounds, unloads all of it into the halfback.
Third down, 6 yards to go. The Terps have disdained the pass, at least anything much beyond the line of scrimmage. Gelbaugh had his problems early with 2 interceptions. This is the 11th play of the drive. And Farrell Edmonds jumps off sides. Looked like one of the backs also moved for Maryland.
Again, the crucial mistake, all at the wrong time, of course. You got the big drive going. Now we got 3rd and 10.
11 minutes and 38 seconds to go in the game. Penn State, after leading 17-0, now clinging to
Illegal procedure,
20-18.
offense, 3rd down.
There's Farrell Edmonds.
Big play. If they could get a touchdown on this drive, it really would put Penn State in a defensive situation. Bobby Ross needs that water too.
Bobby Ross very relaxed this week, very confident in his ball club. Badonic and Blunt are split behind Gelbaugh. Terrible pass in the flat. Stan Gelbaugh had nothing on that one as he was throwing to Farrell Edmonds. And I have to believe that Stan Gelbaugh has a bad arm.
Well, Mike, you know, you start out trying to find reasons for it, but quite frankly, he throws this ball from a flat-footed position, and he short arms it just as you said. He's got no step forward, and I don't really know what the problem is.
Gelbaugh in this half, 1 out of 5, only 6 yards.
I know he can't be pleased with himself. He's a fine quarterback, and he's certainly capable of throwing the ball downfield. Penn State's putting some pressure on him.
He proved that last year. He's an outstanding quarterback. Paredes out of Hennings Hold from the 24-yard line. It will be a 34-yard attempt, could give Maryland the lead. And the soccer-style kicker has it wide. Plenty of distance, but wide for Ramon Paredes. And Penn State dodges a bullet. 11 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the game. Timeout on the field. Penn State 20, Maryland 18. We'll be back after this word from our local station. There are the fire hydrants outside Byrd Stadium trying to cool people off, but nobody's outside. They're all inside. Penn State first and 10 at the 20-yard line. The crowd really back into it. The Nittany Lions lead by 2. Dozier, room to run across the 30. Got away from Covington. 35, and then Maryland swarms him at the 35-yard line. Biggest play of the day so far for DJ Dozier. Really been held in check very well, Ken, until now.
He has been, but that's the first opportunity he's really had to show his speed. He's got the quickness. He's got the moves. There's a good block on Kelly. He slips through there. Now, he doesn't really look like mid-season form. He's slipping and sliding a little bit, but that's the kind of runner he is. He ain't pretty, they say, but he can get the job done.
Got 15 yards on that. Another first down, and Schaefer is back to throw. Come on! Dumps it off to Smith, the fullback. He eludes one tackle. Stopped by Sean Scott, number 51. Came up from a linebacker spot. Neil Sampson, number 75, dropped back to help him out.
Maryland defensive line is giving Schaefer entirely too much time to throw the football. He's standing back there and finally able to go to his 3rd or 4th receiver.
I think they really surprised him calling a pass on that play. Joe Paterno mixing it up. 10 minutes, 17 seconds left to go. One of the biggest games of the year, and it's our opener. 2nd and 4, Nittany Lions. Dozier and Smith in the backfield. This is Dozier. Not much that time. And it was Neil Sampson, number 75, on the bottom of the pile, holding onto his ankles.
Now they're sweating, but they're happy. Penn State fans, of course, have come a long way, not that far, really, to see this ball game. It's a big game for them, and, of course, a huge game for the University of Maryland.
We have to remind you of the streak, which is 27-1 in favor of Penn State and 20 in a row for the Nittany Lions. 16 in a row under Joe Paterno. 3rd down and 1. Penn State has only converted 1 3rd down today. Dozier, right side. He's got this one. Fawcett and Scott on the stop, but not before DJ Dozier crossed the 45 and picked up the first down, keeping the drive alive and the clock moving.
Boy, believe me, if you could keep this ball going just as Penn State has it going, they'd be happy. The offensive line firing out, just giving Dozier a little bit of opening to get through. Fawcett making the tackle, but Joe Paterno would love to march that ball right down the field, picking up 4 or 5 yards at this point.
Dozier only 34 yards on 8 carries, but that was a big one. First down, Penn State. They're on 47-yard line, and Schaefer back to throw again. Plenty of time, guns it too high. And it looked like Mike Alexander, number 9, had slipped and tried to get back up. could have been an interception. Keita Covington was back there along with his brother Al Covington.
Mike Alexander does slip down. Now, it really surprises me that they're looking downfield at this point in the ball game. You see the slip on Alexander. Covington, had he seen it earlier, might have gotten up and made that interception. Can't say enough about that offensive line of Penn State, Mike. They're doing a great job. Most of these kids have not been in the same position more than 1 year. Doing a super job.
Boy, they really are. 2nd down and 10 from the Penn State 47-yard line. This is Schaefer out of the eye. They'll give it off on the tailback draw to David Clark. And Clark picks up maybe a yard before he stopped.
When you take Dozier out of the ball game and the talent really drops down, DJ Dozier is the catalyst that makes this ball club go. Got a penalty on the field.
And it looks like it's going to go against Penn State. The tackle was made by Robert Klein, a sophomore defensive lineman who had only 1 tackle all of last year.
You know, I look at all these ball players now, and they're wearing those knee guards. That's a special device that I thought they only practiced in. But it looks like most of the ball clubs are requiring the kids to, of course, play the ball games. And I often wonder whether that really has any effect on them.
It has had a lot of effect on several programs. I know Iowa State, for one, went for, I believe, 3 years and didn't have a surgical knee after wearing the knee braces.
Holding
Well, it's
by the offense, 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
I don't know whether it affects mobility, but evidently when you get a guy like DJ Dozier or someone like that who wears it, it must not do but so much.
DJ Dozier on the sideline right now, and Penn State is faced with 2nd and 20. The tailback is David Clark, 48. They split the backs behind Schaefer. And Schaefer to throw. 4-man rush. Plenty of time. Now he runs, and he's sacked. Number 96, Ted Chapman, with his 3rd sack of the ball game. Chapman led the Terps last year with 7 sacks.
Schaefer's looking downfield. It looks like he has some men open early. Then he holds on. He likes to hold on to the football and then moves up a little bit tentatively. But, of course, you cannot give that Maryland line but so much time. Are they going to be in on top of it?
I think that's a good point, Ken. It was not the offensive line's fault. They gave him plenty of time to throw.
Absolutely.
But apparently good coverage in the Maryland secondary. And now it's 3rd and 23. Steve Smith back into the fullback spot for Penn State. Schaefer again, this time throw short, incomplete. Almost picked off by Richie Pettibone as they were throwing for Mike Timpson. He got a hand on it over the middle, and then Pettibone got a hand on it. And there's the cheer for the Maryland defense.
Mike Timpson is small, but he's got a lot of courage. Richie Pettibone right there almost gets that pass, and that would have been a big play. If Mike Timpson had gotten it, you'd have seen some action too.
Keita Covington waiting deep for the punt of John Bruno. Maryland with a 10-man line, and they're coming. They didn't get to it.
Great punt.
And Covington driven all the way back to the 13-yard line. And a flag goes down at the 28-yard line as Kurt Bernier makes the stop. A 53-yard punt, a 14-yard return, and normally a flag in this situation means a clip or a behind-the-back block.
That was a fantastic punt in a pressure situation. That's how big that interception could have been.
Boy, Bruno did get it out of there, didn't he?
Oh, it was fantastic.
And it looks like they'll walk it off against Maryland.
7:48 to go in the ball game. Down by 2 points. Going to be backed up well into their territory on about the 12 or 13-yard line. The pressure is on Stan Gelbaugh.
Is it ever at the 13-yard line?
By the receiving team on a run back. 1st down.
7 minutes and 48 seconds left to go in this ball game. There is a timeout on the field. Our score is Penn State 20 and Maryland 18. This is the worst field position Maryland has had in the entire ball game. Starting from their own 14-yard line, Gelbaugh back to throw, and another poor pass as he was throwing for Alvin Blunt. Stan Gelbaugh today, 10 out of 23, 93 yards and 2 interceptions. It has not been Stan's day.
So far in this half, of course, very, very little Maryland has done. 5 passes, 19 rushes. It's the plays might be even, but look at the difference in the Penn State attack. Stan Gelbaugh, a lot of pressure on him by Pete Gutopoulos that time. Not his fault. He's trying to get the ball off to one of his backs, but not throwing the ball very well either.
And in this half, he is 1 of 7. Maryland out of the eye on 2nd and 10. This is a very big possession. Gelbaugh almost falls down, going back. This time trying to go deep, and it's underthrown and intercepted, and now dropped. Let's see if it counts as a completion. The officials looking at each other. I think it's going to be Penn State's football. No. Incomplete pass. Dwayne Downing appeared to intercept the ball and then have it knocked out of his hands, and that one was underthrown.
Abdur Rauf on a streak pattern. Ball thrown. Gelbaugh almost stumbles, almost falls. Finally airs it out. Doesn't look like anything's wrong with his arm in that throw.
Not on that one.
And he gets it out. Of course, Dwayne Downing looks like he's got the football long enough. And
Very
of course,
close.
Rauf makes a good play in stripping him of the ball.
Abdur Rauf became a defensive back all of a sudden and knocked it out of the hands of Dwayne Downing.
Big
but
play.
now it is 3rd and 10. 7:35 to go. Maryland down by 2. And they'll go on the draw to Blunt. And Blunt fumbled the football. I think he was down, and that's the way they'll rule it before the fumble. The ground cannot cause the fumble. Pete Giftopoulos was right there, and Maryland will have to punt it away.
Well, everybody's angry at Bobby Ross for running the football in that situation, but quite frankly, he made the right decision. This is not the place to try to be a hero. He's got 7-11 left in the ball game, plenty of time. He's got to get out of there. A lot of pressure on Darrell Wright to kick the football.
Wright will kick it away to Coates and Timpson. Line drive kick. And Coates from his own 42. Fumble.
He dropped the football.
And Maryland may have it. Penn State got it back.
What a break for Penn State. Jim Coates just flat dropped the football.
Walker, number 44 for Maryland, was right there and couldn't come up with it. A 40-yard punt.
Alatoa Paolamu almost got in and blocked that pass. Jim Coates made the play, and then he just drops it trying to change the football. And boy, you ever try to get the handle on it after you've dropped it? What a big play. I think he finally gets back in and makes a fumble recovery.
Walker, 44, would have had it, except he was hit from behind and knocked out of the play. 6:51 left in the game. It's Penn State by 2. Penn State's football with only 6:51 to go. The Nittany Lions have a 2-point lead, and Matt Kisner is in at quarterback for Joe Paterno. Straight back to throw over the middle, and it's complete to Roundtree. Joe Paterno pulling out all the stops. 15-yard completion from Kisner to Roundtree.
Fan just came back from Woodstock to watch this throw by Matt Kisner. Kisner just rifles the ball to Roundtree, who, for his first real ball game of playing, is doing a tremendous job.
That was some catch.
Donald Brown not quick enough to make that break up that pass.
The ball at the Maryland 37. Time becoming a factor with 6:30 to go. Penn State, if nothing else, would like to get a field goal out of this drive. Kisner again, and he is swamped. Chuck Fawcett poured through on the blitz and buried him in the backfield. And Maryland may gamble on every down now.
They're going to have to do a lot of heroic things to stop this Penn State ball club. John Kisner gets his lunch really eaten. Chuck Fawcett hits him hard. And he's lucky if he's in the ball game.
Loss of 6, 2nd down and 16. Joe Paterno talking to some of his offensive linemen, and you see the raised palms like, what happened? Kevin Woods, number 2, is in at running back along with Manoa, the fullback, and it's a draw to Manoa, and he'll go nowhere. And Chuck Fawcett once again. This time he had him around the ankles.
Chuck Fawcett all over that field, wants to take over himself. Gee whiz, great play. Had the draw play called, of course, and just jumped in there and made the tackle.
It's time to do it if you're going to be a hero. The clock ticking away toward 5 minutes. Penn State with a 2-point lead. They led 17-0. Maryland's only lead was 18-17. And a field goal by Massimo Maka has been the difference. 3rd down, 16 yards to go out of the eye. Fake draw, and a sack, and a fumble. Maryland football.
What a play.
Kisner hit from behind and coughed it up. Holy cow.
That's a big play. Dwayne Dunham makes that tackle, popping the ball loose, and Ted Chapman, Kisner coming on. Just great line play. They come hard. Now watch Dwayne Dunham hit him from behind. There's the hit. strips him of the ball, and Ted Chapman jumps in on top of it. We've got a new ball game.
Dwayne Dunham, a 228-pound sophomore from Gaithersburg, Maryland, with a turnover that could hinge the outcome of the game. 4:59 left. Penn State by 2. Ramon Paredes could be the difference in this ball game. He is 1 out of 2 in the field goal department. Maryland with the ball after the fumble on the Penn State 48-yard line. Farrell Edmonds in motion. Badonic. 4, 5, 6 yards straight up the middle. Dragging number 31, Shane Conlon with him.
Looking at it from Bobby Ross's perspective, he'd be very happy to work that ball down to about the 20-yard line, and Raymond Paredes would get his chance to be a hero. Joe Paterno, likewise, is trying to combat Bobby Ross at this time and thinking about what he can do to stop this drive. Bobby Ross might keep this on the ground.
4 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Maryland in the eye. Blunt, the deep man. Second down, less than 5. Blunt cuts it back inside. Still on his feet and driving for the first down. Alvin Blunt, what an effort.
Alvin Blunt hit 3 times in the backfield. Keeps going. Don Graham has a shot at him. Trey Bauer has a shot at him. Here's that counter move. Coming back with the guard leading. And just makes a tremendous effort to get out there. First down.
Maryland with a first down at the Penn State 37-yard line. And they have gone almost exclusively to the run in the second half. Both wide receivers to the near side of the field. Holder 81 and Abdur-Rauf 87. 4 minutes left in the ball game. Holder comes back in motion. Blunt. Inside the 35 to the 34. The clock will continue to run. Don Graham 53 and Ray Ison 22 on the tackle.
Right now, if you're running in that backfield, you want a piece of that football. If you've got anything to you, Alvin Blunt and Rick Badonic are both winners, and they both want to get that ball down there. Looking at it from a coach's perspective, you just wonder whether they can eat their way down there completely on the ground. They've got to come back. They've got a great tight end with Farrell Edmonds, and they haven't thrown in the football.
Blunt, 20 runs, 84 yards. Badonic, 19 for 75 and a pair of touchdowns. 2nd and 7. Blunt tries to get outside now, cuts it back, nowhere to go. Rogers, Alexander, and Shane Conlon on the tackle. And the fans boo a little bit, I think, on the play selection, but I don't think Bobby Ross has much of a choice in the play selection right now. Gilmore has had a terrible second half.
Well, Stan has not had a good second half, but at the same time, you kind of look at that second down situation as being a little bit more ideal time to throw the football, even if you're going to throw it short. Bobby Ross concerned about what's going on. They've got themselves in a throwing situation for sure right now.
Stan Gelbaugh, 1 of his last 8 passes. 3rd and 7. Going deep to Abdur-Rauf, and it's overthrown. Now that one was about the best looking pass he's had here in the second half. He hung it up there for Abdur-Rauf, and he missed it. Now it's 4th and 7. We have no idea what Ramon Paredes' range is, but he is coming into the ball game, and this will be a long one.
We're going to find out how long his range is. We had 17 yards onto that.
This will be about 50 or 51, and he's putting the tee down between the 41 and the 42-yard line, so it's a 51-yard attempt for Ramon Paredes. He is 1 out of 2.
A chance for a Paraguayan to be a hero in a U.S. game.
Dan Henning is holding. It's got enough distance, but it's wide. For the second time in the game, Ramon Paredes misfires in accuracy. He made from 22, but has missed from 34 and 51 yards. Will the jinx continue? 2:27 left to go, and Penn State has the football back, leading by 2 points. Both teams have all of their timeouts left.
Look for Maryland to pull out all the stops, Mike. They've got 3 timeouts left. They'll probably be blitzing their linebackers. You've got no choice at this point. You've got to go.
Dozier back in at tailback along with Steve Smith, 33, the fullback. 1st and 10 for Penn State, their own 34. Dozier. He'll get 2, still on his feet.
fighting hard for yardage. Good job by Dozier.
As a running back, you have to be a little careful right now. When you're in this situation, you've got to make sure that you hold on to the football.
This is what has happened. It's been all turnovers. Maryland has had its opportunities. They scored off of 3 turnovers, but have missed 2 field goals off 2 others. Schaefer is back in at quarterback for Penn State. Clock turning, 1:54 to go. Excuse me, it's Dozier on the draw, nowhere. Walker wraps him up in the backfield.
You've got to use one of those timeouts.
And they're signaling from the sideline to call time, and they do with 1:38 left.
Okay, that gives you a chance to use another one to get the ball back before the punt, and then you can reserve 1 timeout, of course, and the big decision, will you put a full-out rush on that punt?
Dozier and Smith are the running back split behind Schaefer. Maryland showing an 8-man front. And Schaefer back to throw. Over the middle, incomplete, and will there be a flag? No, now one drops.
It's a good call.
Yes, it was. Covington made contact with the receiver, tried to pull back, but couldn't do it. The 2 officials who were closest to the play didn't call a thing, and a man came up out of the secondary to throw the flag.
The Maryland team is trying to say that the ball was deflected, which of course will nullify any, and that's exactly what they say.
That's what they'll rule.
That the ball was deflected, and at that point the receiver is open game.
Boy, Joe Paterno doesn't think it was deflected.
I didn't see the ball deflected. We'll get a chance to see it. Let's keep the hands up. We get the big hands up now. I guess it was deflected right there.
Back to punt is John Bruno. Maryland with 10 men at the line of scrimmage. Covington at the 20. They've come after him the last couple of times. They haven't got there. And they won't get there this time. And Bruno hangs up a beauty. Covington at the 10. Nobody back to block for him. Covington trying to do it on his own. Gets out to the 24-yard line. What a great job by Keita Covington after a 52-yard boomer of a punt from John Bruno. Maryland first and 10 at its own 24. Gelbaugh has to throw now. Over the middle, Aziz and Abdur Raouf with the football still on his feet. Abdur Raouf inside the Penn State 40.
What a play.
Farrell Edmonds threw a great block for him.
Unbelievable play by Abdur Raouf. He is nailed and nailed hard. I don't even think he realized that he was still on his feet.
And he'll come off for a little bit of a breather.
Gelbaugh back, just hoping for something to happen. Abdur Raouf runs about a 15-yard in. Gelbaugh steps up. It's deflected.
Almost
makes a tremendous reception. Now Alexander hits him. Zordich hits him.
Back to action, Bodanik on the draw. Bodanik down to the 30. Did not get out of bounds. The clock continues to run with 1 minute to go.
I think I understand why they're called the Cardiac Kids.
Oh. 2nd and 4. Bodanik and Blunt, the running back, split behind Gelbaugh. And he wants to throw. Oh, complete. In and out of the hands of Holder at the 12-yard line. Gelbaugh really had something on that. One of the best passes he's thrown today, and Holder just dropped it.
Is this the same quarterback we watched for most of the second half? He really whistles the ball into Eric Holder. Should have caught this football. Lance Hamilton coming in too late, but tough break for Maryland.
Gelbaugh now 11 of 27, only 132 yards, but the big story is the clock. 44 seconds left. 3rd and 4 for Maryland. They're at the Penn State 30. Gelbaugh to throw under a blitz, throws complete to Blunt. Blunt fumbled the football. And Penn State's got it. Alvin Blunt never saw the man who knocked it out of his hands.
There's Stan Gelbaugh, the ejected Stan Gelbaugh. He gave it everything he had.
And again, it's a turnover.
What can you say?
20 straight times Penn State has found a way, some way, to beat Maryland.
Bobby Ross, how frustrated, how disappointed he must be. Gelbaugh again coming off that great pass. Not his fault. He hits Blunt. Looks like a nice, safe pass. Hamilton comes up, strips him. The ball game's over.
Blunt never saw Hamilton. The final score of our game, Penn State 20 and Maryland 18.